Okay, so welcome to session 4 of our Smoke and Snow session for OSE. In the last session, our heroes rescued the trader Hercules Buchanan from a ruined temple where his mules had been attacked and killed by some sort of bizarre club-tailed dogman creature. He fled into the temple and eventually the player party rescued him. In return for him agreeing to set up his trade concern, since he's hoping to expand into Valconan, they asked him to set up his trade concern near New Seal Land, their village. And in return for this, they agreed to accompany him to a trade meet, a meeting of traders who were trying to get themselves established in Valconan, and then back to the nearby Fort Eastburn. He's a sort of canny but quite naive, like, minor trader from Rohaleen who obviously wasn't prepared for the harshness of Valconan, but he's desperate to make his mark away from the grasp of the Rohaleen trade guilds, who've pretty much got it sewn up back in the homeland. So let's get rid of that, and I'm going to move you all onto the main map. The old map screen's getting a bit massive now with all the maps on it. I need to have some like hold music or something like every time I'm waiting for like Roll20 to like load a map up. That's what I need. There we go.
The Imperial March from Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want that. I get copyright strike.
You should do like the old geezer out of Crystal Maze and play your harmonica or something.
Yeah. If I thought I could play a harmonica, I would do, man.
Oh, this you could fake it till you make it, John.
That's it. Okay, so let me just see if I can center you all there. Okay, so hopefully you can all now see the map. And obviously we've got the sort of map pin where you guys are currently near the mountain range known as the Grey Heights. You've been at this trade meet for half a day. You've successfully escorted Hercules Buchanan there. There's a bewildering variety of lesser traders there, a lot of which sort of are struggling back on Rohaleen because, as we say, the big trade concerns, the big guilds there have pretty much got a lock on all the like lucrative trade routes. So a lot of them who are seeking to make their mark or sort of make their name and fame and fortune have decided to decamp to Valconan to investigate it a little bit to see whether it's potentially worth setting up more permanent trade concerns here. And that's what Hercules Buchanan has done as well. So you've basically been walking around this, it's like a small range of like shallow hills, and there's various sort of tents and makeshift sort of wagons and stuff like that dotted around in the shallow inclines of these hills. Far to the, like a couple of days to the east, you can see the land rises up into like a large plateau, sort of several hundred feet above where you are now, and then just beyond that, sort of glinting in the midday summer sun of Valconan, you can see the shining white spires and icebergs of the Great Glacier beyond this plateau. And even further in the distance, you can just about make out what appears to be another range of mountains in the midst of this Great Glacier to the east. Occasionally you see the sunlight shining off the snow that caps these tall and foreboding dark peaks. Unfortunately, as the day has progressed, the weather has got much colder and a strong wind has struck up, which is whipping the low-lying snow and ice around. Sort of halfway through the day, most of the traders have started to sort of move back into their tents. They've started to take what shelter they can, and the previously sort of like conversational and sort of fairly sort of business-like, friendly sort of mood that was going on with all these traders, like talking to each other, exchanging information, talking about what they had to trade and stuff like that. That mood's quickly started to be replaced by one of much more caution. I say most of the traders aren't particularly prepared for how harsh winter weather can be in Valkona, and this isn't even like winter weather, this is just like a summer sort of storm. But it's obviously a lot colder here because we're in the northern climes, sort of subarctic biome, if you will, as the kids say. So most of them have taken shelter within their tents. There's the odd sort of person who's not as well prepared, sort of moving around. Obviously Hercules Buchanan is sort of sticking close to you guys because you'd agreed to escort him back to Fort Eastbourne, which he showed you on the map he'd drawn, which is sort of there. However, as the last few people are sort of hurrying to their tents, you're looking around our dwarven friend Leopold Stavish. You're sort of looking around, you're all sort of like covering your eyes against the snow and the biting wind. Obviously you've all got appropriate cold weather gear, so you're fine. I mean, it's not like you're going across the glacier or anything, it's just like a snowstorm, and the shallow hills are providing a little bit of shelter. As you're looking around, Leopold, you see what appears to be a fairly youngish man. He's wearing like heavy furs over his shoulder, and he appears to be having some sort of quite animated discussion with one of the few remaining traders. And their discussion finishes. You can't really hear what they're saying because of the wind. As their discussion finishes, he turns around, and as he does, his like fur cloak sort of like blows back a little bit in the wind, and you can see that he's wearing a strange sort of robe with like a sort of sunburst motif, like a white robe with a sunburst motif on it. And you think back to what Weimar and John Cameron were telling you about their experiences with the undead on the Witches' Island, these strange sort of undead knights or warriors that they claim to have seen. And you're sure you remember them telling you like that they were wearing sort of tattered robes that had a very similar design on to like this guy you've just seen with the fur cloak.
And didn't I have this? Didn't this tablet of mine had this sunburst?
It did indeed, yeah, and it looks very similar.
Well, I'm not in the best of moods just now because my axe throwing contest was brought to a rude conclusion by the weather just when I was winning.
Yeah, you're just getting your arm in.
It's just I was loosening up, because our shoulder injury was playing up a little bit, but I'd got my eye in and everything, and there weren't too much competition, but they called it to a close, so I'm a little bit crotchety about that. And then seeing this sun it's caught my eye, so I'm gonna head over to this fella.
Okay, so Cameron, Weimar, you obviously see, because you guys were sort of gathering, you see Leopold heading over towards this guy, and as you sort of follow the direction he's moving in, you too see this fellow wearing a robe under like furs, which has this sunburst motif on, and it's not exactly the same, but it looks extremely similar to like the ragged robes you saw the undead knights of the Witches' Isle wearing. And obviously like Leopold's like storming off towards him. So Leopold, you arrive sort of like within a few feet of this fellow. You can see he's looking around, perhaps looking for where he's going to take shelter from the storm.
Like, put up my finger and like, I'm just going to like prod him. I'm not a charismatic kind of guy. I'm just going to like prod him. Yeah. All right, sunshine. What's that old robe you got there? What's that all about then? Pretty colourful.
As you poke him in the chest, he goes like that, and you can see that he's actually got like a sword hanging on his belt that was on it. But he like doesn't draw it out and go to stab you or anything. But he just like puts his hand on the hilt of it, so like he's got it ready to use if he needs to. Yeah,
relax. I'm just asking a question about your colourful robes there with the sun.
He says, well, these are the holy robes of my order. the Order of Solaris.
The Order of Solaris. Ah. Round this way? You're from round this way, are you?
He says, well, originally our order came from here. I myself am from Rohaline. And you see that as he's talking to you, he keeps sort of like glancing around as though like he's got somewhere else to be. But like he doesn't want to be impolite. He's like, yeah, originally our order came from here, but I'm from Rohaline myself.
Ah, nice. What brings you to this trade meet?
He says, well, I came. I'm one of the last. Unfortunately, my order hasn't fared particularly well as the years have passed, and I'm one of the few remaining members. I came here with the head of the order. We hoped to visit our spiritual homeland, I suppose you could say, but unfortunately, my master was afflicted by a poisonous toxin from one of the beasts in this place, and he's extremely ill. I heard rumours of this trade meet, and I came here hoping that I could buy something to perhaps help him or to heal what ails him. But alas, aside from finding from that, and he points at the gentleman who he was just talking to was ducking into a tent. Aside from buying some pain relieving herbs from one of the traders, I've not found anything that I believe will help. But at least these might make things a little bit easier on him. And he sort of he jiggles this like pouch that he's obviously just bought, and as he sort of jiggles it about, you can smell this faint sort of like some herby sort of like greenery like smell sort of wafting up from this little hessian sack he jiggles about.
Most unfortunate. I don't have a lot of problem with poison myself. We're a hardy lot, the dwarves.
He says, "Well, yes, I've heard that the Kalnar are very resistant."
Oh yeah.
He says, "Unfortunately, my master is not a young man, and well, when we travelled to what was once one of the old abbeys belonging to our order, we found it infested with these strange insects or beetles. I'm not sure. I'm not a zoologist, but one of them poisoned my master, and it was all I could do to drag him away from that place. So quickly did the poison take effect. I managed to get him to safety. We've got a small encampment just upon the edge of the plateau, but there's nothing I could do for him there. So hearing rumours of this trade meet, I decided to come here in the vague hope I'd find something that would be able to help him."
Well, I've got to tell you that your robes caught my eye, because I've got this thing I've been carting around, and I like pull out the tablet thing.
Yeah, you pull the tablet out, and he peers at it for a few moments. Although he's still sort of not nervously glancing around as though he's on a bit of a time limit. And he's like, "Well, yes, that does look to be one of the. Obviously, our symbol has changed slightly through the years, but that does look to be one of the older symbols of our order."
And what is it exactly that your order gets up to then? What's your kind of?
He says, "Well, I'm not really
agenda.
I'm not really given to being a historian. My master was more interested in delving into the history of our order, to be honest. But from what he's told me, I'm led to believe that back when humanity still lived on Valkona, there were great will workers and mages who conjured feats of remarkable magic and prestidigitation, but their studies left them little time to practice martial powers. And from what my master tells me, our order was founded to help protect them." Obviously. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got some herbs. Do you think they're going to work? Do you think they're going to?
I don't think they're going to cure the poison, but they may at least provide him some relief from the tremendous pain he's in at the moment. But it's the best I can do. As I say, I'm no expert at such things.
I'll be looking around for my companions at this point, wondering if sort of like this seems kind of interesting, and I'm just wondering if I can spot one of them.
Wymar and Cameron, where are you guys when this is going on?
I guess I'd be kind of hovering nearby, kind of listening. Would I, as a ranger, have any understanding of what kind of plants might ease the poisoning, or
maybe a D6 roll?
Two.
Okay. Now, obviously, you've been chatting to various traders during like the half day you've been here. You have heard from one of the traders that apparently a trader who was selling some sort of healing herbs, who was saying that like he'd actually procured them like locally, and you got friendly with this guy. You got chatting. You know, you both men of the world. You both sort of like knew a bit about the wilderness. You sort of bonded over that, and he was saying that he got them from a patch that's probably about 12, 15, 18 miles southeast. He says just on the edge of a forest to the south.
Okay.
They might do the trick, but without actually seeing the guy and being able to like check what's wrong with him, it's difficult for you to say at this point. But that's like the best lead you've got at the moment.
Okay, so I'll jump in at this stage and say, some 12, 18 miles away from here, that may help your master. You know, and we would be very interested to speak to him and to see him well, because we have many questions.
If I'm sure, if you can help my master, I'm sure he would happily answer any of your questions. I mean, after all, he is the one who is enthusiastic about the history and the pedigree of our order. It was his lead that led to us travelling here. I merely came along as his aide, to be honest.
Mm. And what is your name, good man?
He says, my name, it's Simon Graydon.
Okay. Well, Simon, would you like to accompany us?
Yes, by all means, but if we could go quickly, I'm really not sure how much time my master has.
And based on what we know about this storm, do we feel like it's safe to travel? Or do we feel like we need shelter?
It's not perilous. At the minute, the wind's strong enough, so like you'd have difficulty like lighting a torch and stuff like that. But it's not sort of hurricane strength. You'd be able to move. It might be a bit sort of hard going, but yeah, not too difficult.
Okay. I laugh at your hard going.
So, Leopold cares not for your four winds.
Yeah.
So I guess then I'll say to Leo, I think maybe we should go and try and find these herbs and try and save this historian in the hope that he can shed some light on the mystery. And
where is the old fella at in his suffering?
He says, as I say, we set up a small encampment on the edge of the plateau, just to the east. But
you did.
Unfortunately, I had. That's why I wanted to get back so quickly. I had to leave him there on his own. There's no one else but me and him. And if I stayed with him, he would have surely died in great pain. And I would do anything I could to prevent that from happening.
Is there anything we could do to maybe improve his condition before we go looking for a more permanent answer?
I'm no medic or apothecary. I honestly don't know. I'm not.
Young Cameron, what do you think?
I think he'll need the herbs, the correct herbs. I don't think they're giving him painkillers is going to slow the poison down. So I think that we should go and investigate the herbs and hope that there's something there that can, and hope that he has the strength to hold on.
What do you think these? Can you tell us any more about these creatures that fell upon him?
He says yes. They were some kind of strange beetle or insect. They had when we first reached the Abbey. I thought it was occupied because I could see what looked to be the glow of torches coming from inside. So we were cautious, but when we got in there, the glow was actually coming from these insects themselves.
So some kind of venom.
Perhaps, I don't know. My master, perhaps overcome with the being so near to his goal of exploring one of the ancient abbeys and finding out more about the history of our order. Perhaps his enthusiasm overrode his caution, but he insisted on going in first, and as he did, one of these creatures was on him. It was all I could do to prise it off him and drag him away from there.
And how far away is he from here?
He says about 10, maybe 12 miles.
Sorry, you froze there for a second, John.
10, maybe 12 miles.
Okay, perfect. And it's mid-afternoon, early afternoon. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think we should go for the herbs, and then head up.
Where's old Weimar at? Spending all his money somewhere.
He's probably, I don't know, like having. So what time of day was it? Sorry,
It's sort of
Early
like
afternoon.
early afternoon. Yeah.
afternoon. It's probably trading for some bits to eat with someone.
What?
So he's sampling the wares in the back
Okay.
while this is going on.
Yep. Simon Graydon says, "Well, if you're willing to help, I'm grateful, but we really should get going soon. I don't know how long my master has." And he looks very worried.
Well, John, should he go back to his master and we head for the herbs? I mean, we don't need to drag him with us, do we?
Would he know it well enough to direct us?
Well, I don't know where you're going, so I don't see how I could direct you from there. I could direct you from here, says Graydon.
He's only acting on information from the herb retailers around here, isn't he?
Yeah,
Where we are.
I mean, that's just Graydon basically saying, like, obviously, I don't know where you're going to get these herbs, so I can't direct you from there to like the encampment if you're sending me back to go and see my master while you go and get the herbs. But I could tell you how to get from here, from the
I
trade
see,
meet
yeah.
to where we camped.
Yeah.
Let's bring him with us so that he's not
Yeah,
attacked on the way.
It could be problematic us getting to the encampment without him, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll call over to Weimar and say, we have a clue to the witch's oil, but we have to leave soon to try and save this man's master. If you're ready to depart.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me. I've had a number of head injuries in my career of mining. I'm not always on the ball.
Okay, so I've revealed a section of the map near you guys, and I've marked the location of where this guy's saying like that his master's camped.
And based on our information, where do we think the herbs are?
Okay, you think
2012?
you think the herbs are sort of somewhere around
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Okay, so if you guys are trying to go and get the herbs, can whoever's sort of like leading your effort make a roll to see if you get lost?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, that is not Leopold.
2.
So I believe that means you're fine for you, because you're a rangery type. Okay. Okay, so you travel southeast out of the hills. You move on to what appear to be rolling plains with a thickening coat of snow on them. Snow and sleet is falling from the air, whipped up by the strong winds. Let's make a quick random encounter roll. Okay, you're grand. You travel unmolested until you reach the edge of what appears to be a forest. And you know, because it's the same forest that runs next to New Zealand, this is the forest known as the Wolf Forest. And after a bit of searching around, which it's just starting to get dark by the time you locate it, you do find a patch of these herbs with these sort of three-pronged leaves that were described by the trader that you were talking to, Cameron.
Okay. So I think I'll try and harvest as many of them as is feasible.
Okay, roll me a d6.
4.
Okay, you have managed to harvest effectively like 2 uses worth of these herbs. And like I say, it's sort of like early evening by the time you've sort of found this place and you've like located enough herbs to like sort of gather together. Throughout this time, younger Simon Graydon's been like getting increasingly sort of worried, and he keeps sort of glancing off to the north in the rough sort of direction of where he's told you the camp is. He's obviously extremely concerned about his master and whether you're going to get there in time. And if any of you follow his gaze to the north, you can see sort of marked in like the dark green line on the map, that's the edge of the sort of like the plateau that sort of rises up and then flattens off almost like a mesa. So you're going to have like some quite steep going to like actually get up onto the plateau.
Well, I guess there's no time like the present, and we should crack on and try and find a way up.
Okay. Well, finding a way up's not a problem at all. You can pretty much just sort of like head straight up from where you are, but like I say, it is very steep going, and as you're now getting sort of higher and there's less cover around, the wind appears to be blowing stronger. And it's not that it's actually stronger, it's just you've got less shelter. And of course, with the Great Glacier being just off to the east, the wind that is coming from that direction is extremely bitter and cold. As you're walking and you're sort of trudging up this steep incline, you can see Graydon sort of like pulls his fur cloak a bit tighter around himself, and all of your hair's sort of being like whipped back by the wind. You're having to shout to each other to make yourself heard. You think, given how like difficult it is to get up onto this plateau, that like if you carry on like traveling through the night, which will obviously mean you've not slept, so you'll be like tired, you'll probably arrive there early morning, or you can rest and you can set off in the morning, but obviously that's more time and you don't know how long the master of the order's got.
I think we should press on. Walk through the night, and then if we need to, we can rest tomorrow at the camp.
Yeah, push on.
Okay, so until you guys get a rest, you are going to be at -1 to all your rolls. Well, a 1-point penalty to all your rolls. Can our wayfinder, so Cameron, can you make me another roll to see if you manage to get there in a timely fashion?
Does this young fella know what he's doing?
Absolutely not.
Okay, right.
He seems mighty young.
He's very confident.
Oh yeah, he's definitely confident.
I've seen plenty of confident fellas in my time.
But in no way competent.
Okay, so you unfortunately head like a bit further east.
Oh, I knew it.
Than you'd planned to, and it's only when you get to it's sort of early morning by the time you get there the darkness has not helped you find your way at all. And obviously with the climbing, you've also got a bit turned around and a bit disorientated. It's only when you get to the point where the landscape of this plateau starts becoming like the icy wasteland of the Great Glacier that you're like, we've gone too far east.
There's a good dwarven ranger when you need one. Bugman's fellas, that's what we need here. I'll keep that to myself. Mostly.
Okay. Now, obviously you guys have gone like a bit out of your way, so I'll make another quick cheeky random encounter roll. Why not? You're grand. So, despite all of the issues, and you're all quite tired, you've travelled through the night, you've had to trudge up this steep incline. We're talking, like having sticks that you're having to like put in the ground to like support yourself. 'Cause it's steep as. So your legs are burning. You're quite at odds with the cold weather. Your muscles are aching. You're all a bit like bleary-eyed from the snow and from the tiredness. You're really like struggling. And that's the point where Cameron's like, we've gone too far east. And you can just, as you look to the east, you can just see this wasteland of ice and snow to the east, with just these far-off mountains in the distance. Graydon sort of pulling his cloak around himself says, I think if we head in that direction, we should get there. And he's obviously like very tired as well because he's been walking through the night with you. So you guys have got a decision to make. Do you want to, now you roughly know where you're going, do you want to try and head straight there, or do you want to rest?
I think we should keep going, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to suggest resting.
Okay, make me another wayfinding roll, please, Cameron.
Ooh.
Is that good or bad?
It's unlikely to be good, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty not good, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Not too sure about them green and red boxes around them numbers.
It's fine. It's fine.
Red is never fine.
Don't know what you're trying to say, mate. Don't know what you're trying to say. So rather than, basically, rather than say you guys have got lost again, because that's not particularly interesting, you just be wandering around forevermore. You actually are heading in the right direction. You're taking a bit of a roundabout route. As you're travelling sort of northwards, planning to veer west, and you can just see to the west on the edge of the plateau, you can see this sort of simple hide tent that you know is your goal. When as you're sort of moving towards it, you see to the east of you, sort of just in the sort of like hilly section where it started becoming like the glacier, you see a large cave, and from within the cave you hear a
Okay, I think we're a bit tired for cave exploration. And maybe we should just keep going to find this historian.
okay.
What does Weimar think?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to go into caves right now.
Oh, then alas, I'm outvoted.
Okay, so as you're discussing this, you see the head of a large, almost prehistoric looking bear sort of emerge into the driving snow, sort of like sniffing the air. It doesn't rush you or attack you or anything, but it appears to be watching you warily. And it's huge. It pretty much almost fills the cave mouth. Like I say, it's a proper prehistoric cave bear. You can see like the wicked curved claws of its feet sort of like digging into the icy sort of hard rocky floor underneath it, and this low rumble comes from its throat. You see a few like wisps of cold steam coming out of its nostrils as it sort of eyes you warily. Just its head and its forelimbs poking out of this cave.
At this point, I'm just going to shrug off my pack, like in a well rehearsed kind of like shrug, swing it round, bust out like a day's rations, and just like launch them across the floor. Leave them there and like swing it back up and let's be going. Let's be getting out of here.
Okay, yep.
Maybe this will slow it down, this creature.
Cross off a use of your rations. Don't forget, you all need to have eaten a day's ration because you've travelled for a day. Okay, so you throw a day of your rations sort of like near this bear, and while it's sort of like sniffing it and sort of taking an experimental bite at this sort of like jerky or whatever you've thrown towards it, and it slowly starts to like snaffle it down, you guys make yourself a little bit scarce and it does not follow you. So as you head to the west, you arrive outside in the wind. You can see the tent sort of like bowing slightly in the strong wind. You can see from the inside of it, through the sort of hide of the tent, you can just see like the dull flicker of perhaps a lantern or something similar inside. Graydon immediately like hurries round to the front of the tent, sort of uncouples it and sort of pulls the tent flat back and rushes inside.
Alright, I'll follow him with herbs.
Okay, so you follow him inside and you can see a very sickly, pale looking old man wearing similar dress to Graydon, but his cloak has been taken off and laid over him as like a makeshift cover. He's lying there sort of shivering a little bit. His face is pale and drawn. You can hear like the laboured like of his breaths as he like struggles to breathe, and just like a few wisps of cold breath escaping from him. You see he tries to speak as Graydon comes in, but like just like a strangulated sound comes out, and he lifts up his shaking hand. That Graydon sort of clasps his hand, and he says, Master, I've brought you some help." The old man tries to speak again, but his voice fails him and trails off into this sort of like whimpering, sort of wheezing, groaning sound.
Okay. So I'm guessing these herbs have to be kind of mixed with water and drank, right? Is that?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll use the lantern to kind of melt some kind of fresh snow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kind of mixing the herbs together, one dose, I guess, and then kind of kneel down beside him and then kind of tilt it into his mouth very, very slowly.
Yeah, there's like a little wooden bowl on the side that's got the remnants of some sort of like soup or something in that perhaps Graydon was trying to feed to his master, but it's barely been touched. You empty that out, grab some snow, use the lantern to sort of melt the snow down. You like mixing the herbs in and sort of stirring them around, sort of like a crude pestle and mortar. And after you've got them diffused into the water, you tilt it up. The old man looks a little bit wary, and then Graydon says, Master Gowan, it's fine. These are the people who've come to help you. And he sort of nods and he slurps this, in between coughing and spluttering, like slurps this herbal tonic down. It appears to relieve his pain quite quickly, and the sort of pained, sort of etched expression of agony on his face becomes more peaceful, and he lapses into a sleep.
What? Just what time is it now, John? Is it like early afternoon again? Because we're late.
It's late afternoon now.
Late afternoon. So once he falls asleep, and I guess we understand that he's feeling the better for the herbs, I'll suggest to Weimar and Leopold that we kind of rest here now, because it's been a long 2 days.
Yes, says Graydon. Of course, you're welcome to stay here. I won't rest myself. I want to keep an eye on Master Gowan, but
Are you sure the old fella's all right? He seems to have passed out.
Yeah, he'll sleep off the worst of it now.
You check him and you can see that like his chest is still sort of like rising and falling, so he's still breathing.
I'll take like a right good. I am up. Okay, if you say so.
Okay, so presuming you all want to rest.
Yeah, has he got any food? Graydon, you got any food?
He shows you like a sort of small pot on the side. It's like a clay pot, and it's got more of this sort of thin sort of soup that's got like a few scraps of meat in it. It's mostly like potatoes and like a few herbs. It's not great, but it is food.
I'll have a go at that, I think.
Yeah. Any of you who wish to take part in this sort of gruel, effectively, you can eat that, and you don't have to use one of your rations for today.
Rule it is.
Indeed.
Basically, he's made a big pot, going like, "Oh, I need to like feed my master something," and the master's obviously like not been eating any of it, so it's all just there. It's obviously cold. It's watery. It's not particularly pleasant, but because it's got lots of potatoes in it and lots of herbs, it is at least filling. So
Cold potato water it is.
yeah. Okay, so you all bed down for the evening. You guys don't even have to keep a watch because Simon says that he's going to stay up to make sure his master's okay. So he's effectively going to be like on watch or even like holding vigil. So for the first night in ages, you can all get like a whole night's sleep.
Nice.
Nice.
Which will allow anyone who's taken any damage can get a hit point back.
I mention that bear to him. Make sure to stay alert for bears.
He says, yes, I will. And he positions himself. You see, like he's still with his hand on his sword. He positions himself sort of like cross-legged near the door of the tent, like the tent flap, so that he's like sideways onto it, so he can keep one eye on his master and like one eye on the door of the tent. And then he says, with all the help you've given us, please, a night's good rest is the least I can do to repay you.
If there's any sign of trouble, don't hesitate. Wake me up. I'll be there. My crossbow's here, loaded, ready.
Thank you, I will. But please, we've travelled so far. Get some rest.
Okay.
And he basically he sort of like pats you on the shoulder in like a friendly manner, and he nods, obviously appreciating the fact that you're like, I'm ready to defend you if I need to. And he gives you like a nod.
He's a good lad.
And you all get a restful night's sleep. When you wake up in the morning, you can see that the old master of the order is now awake, and he's sat up in his bed. He still looks a little weak and a little frail, but a little bit of colour has started to come back to his cheeks. And as Simon Graydon sees you guys waking up, he says, oh, good you're awake. Again, I must thank you. Although my master is not at his full strength, he is much recovered. And the old man, sort of still with a slightly croaky voice, sort of like puts a hand, again in a sort of fatherly fashion, just like puts a hand on his shoulder, and he says, "Now, young Graydon," he says, "it's not. I might not be in my full strength or in the prime of my youth anymore, but it'll be. I've got a good few years left in me yet." And then he turns to the rest of you and he says, "Well, it appears that I have all of you to thank for my for saving me from the jaws of death. But might I at least know the names of the people who have done me such a great service?"
John Cameron is my name, from New Zealand.
And I'm Leopold Stavish at your service. Pleasure to meet you. Glad you're looking a little bit more healthy this morning.
He says, "Oh, one of the dwarf, the calendar. I didn't realise any of your people had travelled to Valconen."
Ah, there you go.
Good,
We have.
good, stout, strong people. the cowboy.
Yes, and thank you very much for the recognition.
Then he turns to look at you, Wymore.
I'll raise a hand. Hello. I'm Wymore, and I'm also from New Zealand. And yeah.
He says, well then, my friends, you have my thanks. I am Master Gowan Ramsay for the Order of Solaris, such as it is nowadays. Although there are precious few of us remaining. I'm sorry you find me in such a state. My younger apprentice here tells me that he's told you what befell me at the ruins of the Abbey, and I fear that I would have quite passed beyond this world had it not been for your timely intervention. So you have my deepest thanks. I'm afraid I have the fortunes of our order are not what they once were, so I have precious little to offer you as a reward, save for my thanks.
So you're very welcome. We're keen to help other travellers who are not able to help themselves, with a big smirk, so everyone knows that it's not true. But Master Ramsay, we have some questions regarding your order.
As you say that, he sort of like sits up, like you've just mentioned his favourite subject.
Ah,
And he's like, oh, really?
Yes.
I wasn't aware that that many people were aware of our orders. Like I say, we've fallen on somewhat harder times since our glory days of yesteryear.
Well, let me tell you a story about what we seen not far from here. We've seen the dead walking.
His eyes widen.
So, the dead walking, and they walk until they come to what would best be described as an abbey or a castle of some sort that we believe potentially belonged to your order. And in that castle, at night, there are what I would describe as ghostly knights of the Order of Solaris. And we've seen many tapestries and kind of artful pictures that show that these knights were potentially burned at the stake.
As you say that, he looks to Graydon and says, "Could it be they've managed to find that King Idun's castle?" At which point Graydon says, "But Master, surely that's only a legend." And he says, "Be careful how carelessly you throw that word around my young apprentice. I've seen many strange things in my time, many things that I would have once thought mere story, and have later found out that they bore a gem of truth at their centre." He says, "Yes, I think I may know something of the place you speak of. That there is and he says, the order I belonged to back when we were far greater than we are now. We were once proud warriors who we followed an ancient deity known as the Shining One, and we acted as guards for what were known as the Senna, great powerful mages of the ancient Valkonan people. We were their guards, their first line of defence. Wherever they went on their business, we followed and protected them, and we were, as they brought fruitfulness and plenty to this land, we were, as their protectors, we were beloved and reflected in their light. It's whispered in the older legends of our order that when the great age of ice came upon this land, there was a small chapter of our order led by King Idun, who turned to the worship of dark beings to preserve themselves from the advancing ice, but they were discovered by the local people in the midst of one of their dark, blasphemous sacrifices, and they were put to death by fire, and they were blinded by the people so that their spirits might never find their way back to menace the land of the living.
Well, that didn't work.
Menace it they do, from what we can tell.
And would you know anything about how such creatures or remnants of these creatures might be stopped from their foul menacing?
He says, well, I had hoped to research that legend. As my apprentice said, I believe it to be merely a legend. But the Abbey we were heading to, the reason we were heading there is it is believed that there is an ancient relic of our order there, which was it is a weapon that was symbolically used by the old order in the funeral rites of great warriors of the Order of Solaris who had passed. Unfortunately, we were forced to flee the Abbey, but before we could even get to the lower levels of it, those strange insects that attacked us. For all I know, the relic is still there, but I'm still far too weak to risk going back in there.
And what can you tell us of this relic, Master?
He says, I can only... I've never seen it myself. Obviously, I can tell you it's supposed to be an ancient blade that was handed to the head of our order in many years gone by the Senna themselves. Our old legends call it the Sun Sword, and they say that it was not made of an earthly metal. But as to what that means, I do not know. But I know the relic did not come with our order when those of us who could leave Valkonen when the Great Age of Ice came were forced to leave and make our way to Rohaleen with the rest of the people involved in the Exodus. The legends, I've spent some time researching it, the legends say that the last place we know it definitely was in the old Abbey, which was once, back in the glory days, was one of the principal places of our order.
So, Mr. Cameron, these bugs or whatever that attacked our friend, are they something that you've come across in your wilderness wanderings?
I don't know, John. Are they?
Maybe a D6 roll.
Two.
You've got a sort of vague idea what we might be talking about. I mean, you've not seen them yourself, so you can't be 100% definite. But the mention of the strange glow that these insects had sort of tweaks something in your memory. You do remember hearing about a creature called a fire beetle, and it had this similar sort of like luminescence that emanated from it. So perhaps it could be that.
So yeah, I've heard of creatures like this. Some people call them fire beetles, and their tails kind of glow. Do we think that we should check out this, Abbey? No.
Well, there was talk of a relic.
Aye, and potentially gold and other valuables.
My thinking was if there's something there that might help against them on the Isle, that might be more valuable than whatever else we might scrounge up.
Well, this sun sword thing
Yeah.
sounds like just the tool for the job.
My regular one here didn't do a thing. Turns out, so it probably worth a look. Because I sure as stone don't know what we're going to do about those.
No, and many more will die. You know, there's so many people here who are not prepared for the weather, for the hostile environment. So already in the week it's been, there's probably another 20 dead greenhorns sitting on the island, if not more.
Yeah.
And if there is a battle to the southwest, then that number could be even greater.
Yeah,
Well, I'm happy to take a look.
sure.
Should we leave the master and his apprentice here until we return, or should we send them south to New Zealand to rest up and recover?
Could they make it there on their own is the question.
I kind of whisper, I don't think so. They're such greenhorns. I don't know why they're here. Proper petulant, as you get used to it. And
Well, faith
probably
makes people do crazy things, right?
Mm,
Like come here. Not that that's exclusive because we're all here.
Yeah,
yes,
but look at
we're-
these traders at the trade meet. They were totally unprepared. Set up that trade meet, and at the first gust of wind and a bit of foul weather, they're shutting up shop. I mean, what did they expect? Cancelled the axe throwing contest. Jeez, what the hell?
I'm happy to throw the hatch head with you outside if that helps anyway.
Well,
But I'm thinking
it's not the same.
no.
we'll have to carry the old man, I think.
Where was the Abbey said to be again?
Is that the Temple of the Sun, or is that somewhere else?
Somewhere else. At which point Graydon says, well, I don't think my master could make the journey, and I can't leave him in this state, but I can certainly tell you how to get there. I mean, we've been there. I mean, it's in the mountains to the northwest. It'll take you at least a day to get there in this weather.
Whilst we're on the subject, I want to bust out the old tablet again and show it to the old fella.
He looks at it, and his eyes light up, and he says, "Oh yes, this is definitely one of the old markings of our order, as you can see." And he sort of unfurls the cloak that's over his shoulders that Graydon's put there, and he shows you like the tabard he's wearing, which has a sort of similar sun design. It's not quite the same, but it's very similar. He says, as you can see, the iconography of our order has changed somewhat since those days, but yes, I recognise that from ancient writings I've seen.
And what do you think this tablet is? Is it a map, or?
He says, I honestly don't. I'd need some more time to study it. It looks as though it could be a map, or perhaps a way marker of some kind. It could just be something that's been taken from one of the sites that used to belong to the order. After all, in the chaotic days of the great exodus from here, people took whatever they could get their hands on. It was a disorderly flight, trying to get away from the advancing ice. People, from what I've read, people just grabbed whatever they could, whatever supplies they could carry, and piled into what few boats there were available. And he looks a bit sad. He says, "I shudder to think how many people could not fit onto those boats and lost their lives during the Exodus."
Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a little sketch of this tablet thing, so I ain't got to lug it around anymore, and I'm gonna give it to him and say, well, this probably some artifact of your order. You should probably hang on to it.
He takes it with a slightly trembling hands, at which point, like, Graydon reaches over and sort of takes it off him and puts it on the bedroll next to him. And the old man says, "Oh, thank you, thank you. Again, I am at a loss for word to express my gratitude. You've already done so much for me, and as I'm sure my apprentice has told you, our order has fallen on hard times, and with the Senna being blamed for meddling and bringing the ice as far as people believed, our order fell somewhat out of favour, and we're now a pale shadow of what we once were. And I have little to offer you, save my heartfelt thanks."
No worry. Trouble yourself not.
He nods. Okay, what's the plan, guys?
I think we'll head for the Abbey.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything you guys want to do before you head off to the Abbey, or?
I think we'll just do a bit of foraging over the course of the day. But I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, that's fine. Make your roll for foraging.
Not so much.
Okay.
Weather's too bad.
Unfortunately as well, and you're on this plateau and the vegetation is quite sparse up here because the wind just seems to scour this raised area of ground. So there's not really any big trees up here on the plateau. It's all like low-lying like shrubs and sort of arctic heathers and stuff like that. So there's precious few resources around here. So after an unfortunately failed attempt to find some supplies, you start setting off towards this abbey. Like I say, the wind is still very intense and quite strong. However, it's now behind you, so it's actually sort of helping you on the way. And obviously when you get to the plateau edge, you're heading down, so it's nowhere near as difficult for you to actually make it down this plateau. So
that maple leaf on the map, that's the location of that herb.
it is indeed.
Was there a rake of it there?
There were a few patches of it that were sort of scattered around, sort of low-lying amongst the coniferous trees on the edge of the forest. So, like, basically, they're sort of roughly around that area, but once you get to that area, you still have to do a bit of looking around to find them.
So, if we harvested it sustainably, it could be considered a potential resource.
Most definitely, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right.
Okay. So you are told that the abbey is sort of roughly in this area, and you start making your way towards the mountains. If you're leading the group again, Cameron, can you please make me a pathfinding roll?
5.
Okay. So you take a couple of wrong turns on your way there. Again, with the weather, it's quite difficult. Sort of landmarks you spotted previously are now covered in snow. So
Youngsters, they're always in a rush.
that's it. It's the problem with kids nowadays. So, but you do
Not done his due diligence.
So you start making your way towards this abbey, and as Graydon told you, Graydon's like wish you a fond farewell, as is his master. You start heading towards it, but by the time you actually start heading up into these mountains, and the conditions are getting like really quite unpleasant now, you're going even higher than the plateau. The wind is like whistling. There's a few times where you have to all take shelter because you're worried about just being like blown off the side of this like rocky mountain. But eventually you make it to the site of this ruined abbey. However, as you get there, night has fallen, darkness has shrouded the land. The wind is still whipping about you. You can just about make out in the darkness, for there's no moon tonight that you can see by. You can just make out the sort of tall, jagged shapes of crumbling stone walls.
I think based on the stories that we were told about these beetles, and it being kind of inhabited, that we should maybe camp like a mile or so away and approach it during the day.
Yeah. In this mountainous terrain, am I able to find do I stand a better chance of finding a good spot?
Maybe a D6 roll.
Dank.
Okay, you have a look around a bit, and again, it's quite difficult because you're trying to find a place in the dark. You do eventually find like a sort of rocky overhang, and you like check it. You think, oh yeah, that looks pretty secure. It's not going to give you 100% shelter, but at least gets you a bit out of the driving wind. You think, maybe you can like move some of the big rocks, erect like a crude wind shelter, and sort of hunker down by there. You're still going to be cold. It's going to be a fairly unpleasant night, but at least you're not going to be freezing to death.
You sure I'm going to be checking for some big ass crack up the back there? I don't want no goblins coming pouring out in the night or nothing like that.
Yeah, you have a quick look around, and you're sure that there are like no caves or like hidden crevices or anything like that.
Okay. I had a few mates who got turned over like that.
Okay, so are you guys settling down for the evening?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, no problems. I assume you're all like taking watch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, no problems. Let's see if anything happens during the evening. Nope. Okay, so you all take your watches. Like I say, it's a fairly unpleasant night. You're damp because of the exertions of climbing up this mountain. You've been sweating a lot. The wind's still whipping around. It's cold. The shelter that Leopold's managed to find you covers you a little bit from the wind, but not fully, so it's a fairly cold, unpleasant night. However, as it starts getting into morning and the sun starts rising over the horizon, the wind starts to die down, and when you wake up in the morning, although it's still freezing cold, the weather appears clear now. The storm has faded, and as you look out, you can see across the landscape the sort of white sheen of snow reflecting the sunlight back at you, and you hear the last few wisps of wind as it dies down and settles to a normal level. Okay, you all start waking up in the morning. You can see now that there's daylight, you see this square stone building that's it was obviously built to last, but it's been here for like a long old time, so like bits of the stonework are crumbling away. And I will add some light to this map, so hopefully if I issue a prayer to the tech gods and it all works, you should shortly be able to see it. So here we go.
Okay.
I see the light. Yes,
Indeed.
it's working.
Our regular map man.
Indeed.
I recognise that style.
Okay, so obviously I've set up the sort of dynamic lighting on this so you can't see areas you've not gone into, but I've set it to like daylight mode so that once you go in somewhere you'll be able to see. You don't need like a torch on this level.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
as
just
you're
got
sort of,
like line of sight and stuff like
that's
that.
it.
Yeah.
So as you guys are stood outside, you can see like most of the roof of this building is gone, which is obviously allowing the light to come in. As you're sort of looking into like what must have once been like a sort of a guard tower or something, although only the base survives, which served as like the front door, you can see what appears to be a door here, which is closed. There's like an archway here that you can't see into at the moment. And in front of you is like an open archway, and through it you can just make out what appears to be the remnants of a courtyard. And there's like a coniferous tree growing up from the middle of this courtyard, which has like snow hanging from the firs of the tree.
Well, I've cautiously decided to get my crossbow out. It's loaded, and I'm just like eyeing suspiciously the scene ahead of me.
Okay.
Can we hear anything or any scurrying or?
No, you can't hear anything at the minute.
Any beatly noises?
Beetling noises. No, you can't hear anything at the minute.
They're here somewhere. We know they're here. How about some of that track in there, Cameron?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm a ranger, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would, but my eyesight's not as good as it was.
Okay.
I can still hit a beetle.
So I guess,
crossbow bolt.
John, I'd like to examine tracks for anything that might indicate where the master was attacked, or anything that might indicate the number or the size of the beetles or whatever they are.
Yeah, that's fine. Make a tracking roll.
These youngsters.
Let me know if you succeeded.
How soft is the ground?
Pretty soft. It's covered in snow and it's like muddy and sort of wet underneath.
Okay. And then if there's more than one I pass, and it's just not I failed it.
Okay. There is definitely more than one set of tracks.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the distinct tracks of two people heading up, sort of like to the main archway that you can see through into the courtyard, and then you can see like another set of tracks, obviously left by the same people that have sort of like hurriedly moved away from the scene. It looks as though one of the people was sort of like being dragged. You can see like the drag marks of their feet trailing on the ground. However, as you're sort of examining and you're sweeping away the snow and you're sort of like looking for these tracks, you actually found like an older set of tracks that were sort of like impressed in the mud a lot earlier and then have sort of frozen, so it's preserved the tracks, and they appear to like quite hurriedly come out of the sort of main archway that you're looking through, and they head to this door here on the left.
Okay. And are they kind of human boots or humanoid boots or?
Yeah, they look like fairly small but sort of normal like size like human feet.
Okay. And are they like boots or feet?
Boots.
Okay. Okay. So, I guess what I'll do is I'll tell everyone about these footprints that run to this door, and suggest that maybe we go and have a look at it.
No bug prints, Cameron. No bug prints.
No.
Who
Who knows? They might borrow as well.
Borrow. Gets worse.
Okay,
Not afraid of a few fire beetles.
I'll start stomping on the ground to see if I can hear any hollowness beneath my feet. Damn burrows.
You can't hear any hollowness, but roll me a d6.
Okay.
Yeah, when they turn up, we'll have found them.
Yeah.
A tree.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So you just sort of stomp around a bit. You don't like hear any sort of hollow noises from below you. However, as you stop stomping, very faintly and like obviously sort of from within inside the building, but like not getting close or anything, you hear this like
beetle noise. Do you hear that beetle noise?
Is that beetle noise? I don't know.
Yes, that is a beetle noise. I know it for sure.
I don't know what a noise beetle makes.
if you listen carefully, you can hear someone singing like "Love Me Do" in the background.
Oh.
Tickets are right.
Oh.
No Norwegian wood.
Okay, so obviously we're not in combat yet, so you guys feel free to move yourself where you want.
I'm going to move over and examine this door.
Okay, as you move over and you get near and you can now see it clearly, you can see it's not actually a door. It's what looks to be like a wooden table that's been like upended and like shoved in the door.
Okay.
Give it a push and see how easily
It's been wedged in there fairly tightly. You think like with a good shove it'll come out. I mean, you can do it, but like someone's obviously like wet jammed it in there, and you can tell that it's been jammed in there from the other side.
Okay. And if I walk down and around, and I'm looking, I don't know if I can do this, but if I walk down to like here where I am now, can I see how big the room it might be or what's going on in there from the side?
You can't really tell now, and there's no sort of like windows, so.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so then what I'll do is I will come around. How old do I think the preceding tracks might be?
You think they're probably sort of like a few months old.
Okay.
Not like old, but like say like a good few months. Whereas the tracks of, you presume, Simon Graydon and his master, they're like a couple of weeks old.
Okay. So then what I think I'll do is I'll give this, I'll tell the guys to be ready.
Yeah, so, in order to be ready, can I advance and cover this door so nothing pops out and jumps Cameron in the back there?
Yeah, move yourself to where you want to go. So we're
just
not in
want to...
combat rounds.
Whoa, wrong thing.
It's all right, man. If I had a quid for every time I'd done that.
Yeah, I just want to kind of, station myself there.
Okay.
That was all.
Okay.
Oh, I got a MiG. Am I supposed to see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you move in and you're like peering through the door,
Yeah, I've got contact.
As you look to your right into what appears to be like the ruined remnants of maybe like an old chapel, you know, with those long sort of wooden benches, but they're all sort of like cracked and falling to pieces. You can see what appear to be two large beetles with this sort of like dull, pulsating amber light coming from their shells, sort of like rooting around and sort of like not really burrowing, but just sort of like shifting through like the rubble and like the detritus and the bits of wood and whatnot that are sort of dotted around.
Okay, then if I can, I'm just gonna fold back round the corner.
Yeah, you fall back around the corner. They don't appear to have spotted you.
Right, and then I'm just gonna signal to the guys, like give them the hand signal through the door.
He gives you the old like beetle warning signal.
Back in the USSR.
Seemed like yesterday all this trouble was so far away.
Indeed.
Paperback writer.
Okay, we're gonna get copyright struck real soon. So, let's move on.
I'll be surprised if anyone
Does
can pick
it
up our
count if
singing
it's all
as
like...
copyright.
chopped up clips, does that count?
No, you're normally good. Okay, so Cameron, what are you doing with regards to this like table that's been used as like a barricade?
So I guess now that we've made contact with the enemy,
Yeah,
I guess my
you
sense
can still hear like the noise they're making, this low level like bzzz, hasn't changed, and they're still just sort of like moving through the rubble. As you saw them, Leopold, you just saw like the tops of their shells with this dull pulsating glow as they were like and like moving through like the rubble and the bits of wood and chips of stone, and they were all, it almost looked like they were like swimming through it because there's like rubble everywhere.
And I spotted 2 of them, so I'll make that plain to the guys. I'm like, 2.
Okay. So I will suggest to Weimar that we swap positions, and then if you guys want to hide either side of the door, I will step in. I'll fire my musket at this creature and try and damage it, and then I will run away and I will try and draw them to you guys for you guys to lay down the smack down on them.
Okay.
I was gonna shoot him.
Well, we can both do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, there's one over to the left and one over to the right. So
2 to the right as well, is there? Yeah.
is there 2 to the right?
Yeah.
I'm only seeing 1 to the right and 1 to the left.
It'll depend on what angle your character's at.
Yeah. See, because I'm like, I got like a. Well, I could shoot this one over to the left, and we've got a bit of a. I've got a bead on one to the left, probably from where I am, because I guess if I can see it, I've got a line of sight to it of some sort. Yeah.
John, these pillars, I guess, around the tree, how big are they?
It's just like the sort of cracked plinths that pillars would have been on. There's no actual like pillars coming off it. It looks like once like maybe this was some sort of sacred grove or something like that with like pillars around it, but now it's just like the chipped plinths that the pillars would have been on.
Okay.
So this is like an atrium within the building that goes.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. And in fact, to be honest, as you're sort of looking around, Leopold, with like the Kalner or the dwarf's sort of appreciation of architecture, although like now it looks like a wreck, because obviously you can sort of like reconstruct in your mind what it must have once looked like. You're like, actually, this place must have been like fucking stunning in its heyday.
Proper legit.
Yeah. You could see that, like, yeah, this would be like the main sort of place for like a holy order, you know.
Yeah, we've got some classic kind of ecclesiastical lines going on. Yeah. The proportions are all like bang on.
Okay, so if you want to take a shot at one of them, Cameron.
So I guess, yeah, it's either whether we want to attract their attention or bring them to us, or whether we want to try and work through them one at a time.
Well, I will tell you for nothing that firing a black powder firearm will certainly attract their attention.
Sorry, yes. And I guess what we're trying to work out is whether that's what we do when we bring them to us, or whether I don't fire it and
I'll tell you
use
what.
your crossbow.
Why don't I get a shot off first on this left one, and the other one might not even know anything about it.
Okay.
And then...
Okay, so can you ping which one you're shooting at for me, please, Leopold?
Yeah.
You just left click and hold down your left mouse button. And it should do like a little boop. There we go, lovely. Yeah.
Yep. See that? Okay. That dude.
Yeah. I'm on it.
Crossbow. So let's see if this thing... Does this thing work?
Should do.
I like to imagine that's Leo. Does this work? Damn thing.
That didn't do anything.
Just roll a d20 then.
Yeah, go on.
I'll have a look at your character sheet after the session so I can work out what's up.
Oh no, that's dank.
Okay, so you fire off your crossbow bolt. It shoots through this like little sort of gap here. it hits the beetle and glances off its chitinous hide. As it does so, from the left of you, you hear the buzzing sort of like suddenly goes and gets louder, and this pulsating sort of glow starts to become brighter from the left.
Mm.
Okay. Cameron, what are you doing?
This tree, how high is the tree, or what is it? A big tree that I could
Yeah,
kind of hide
it's a very
in?
big tree, yeah. You could certainly hide in it, yeah.
Okay, so what I want to try and do is kind of jump up onto like the first fifth or sixth branch, I guess, and kind of hide myself in it. And I have a good chance of surprising them if I do that.
That's fine. Make me an attribute check, maybe a dex check. This is just to see if you manage to like scramble up there quietly enough, which you don't. You are still in the tree, but you make like a lot of noise sort of running across and like scrambling up into the branches, and obviously you dislodge some of the snow and stuff like that. So you've not hidden, but you are still up the tree. Okay. So are you taking a shot once you get up the tree, or?
Are these other creatures that I can see from?
Yep.
Can you describe what they might look like?
They appear to be, again, similarly sort of like large beetles. However, they don't have the glow coming from them, and have these strange sort of bands of different colour across their chitinous shells.
Okay. So I guess what I'm going to do is make gestures to the guys to say that there's 4 and then 3. So there's 7 total. And then I guess I don't want to fire my musket just at the moment.
Okay, so we'll move on to Weimar then.
I'll say to Weimar, doesn't look like we're in a tactically advantageous position, Weimar.
What do you suggest?
My instincts tell me a classic outflanking maneuver would be preferable to wading into the centre where we are attacked from all directions.
So going around then.
Maybe. If we wade in there, there's creatures all around us.
Cameron's in the tree though.
Well, he's a crazy ranger. What do you expect? Of course he's in the tree like a bauble that he is. A festive decoration.
Well, the thing is, as well, there are walls here now. So let's say we see what comes out when I shoot
hold this position.
Yeah, for a little bit. See what comes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have these walls.
Yep.
Are good.
Yep.
So, okay. So, John, I'm shooting this one.
Go for it.
With my bow.
Lovely. Okay, would you like to describe how cinematically, with but a single arrow launched from your bow, you completely take out this beetle here?
So that one started the alarm trill, right?
Yeah.
It was like, oh no, something's going on.
Yeah. You see, like it's like sort of like vibrating, like its wings, or it's sort of like it's chitin. And as it was sort of moving the plates, you could see the glows from underneath was getting brighter.
Getting his glow on.
And it was like
getting his glow on.
Obviously getting ready to like fly or whatever.
I think it's. I fire off the arrow. It goes through the little window here, and I think it just skewers the thing, and it slows down the vibrations until it's still and pinned to a board on the back wall there. Just sort of like, and then goes back into the wall, and the
Hours down.
Indeed, that is exactly what happens. And as it's pinned to the wall and you hear the buzzing like fade away, you see this glow slowly like pulse slower, and then just the glow's still there, even though it's obviously dead. It's still actually glowing faintly, although it has dimmed a little bit. Okay, so let's move on to the creatures. Okay, so again you hear this intense buzzing.
Oosh.
And a number of these beetles sort of like, obviously warned by the heightened buzzing of their fellow, sort of like converge out of these two side chambers. Sort of like, you see they're flying, their wings are like vibrating like quite heavily. There's this pulsating sort of orangey light coming from below their chitinous shells. As they're sort of like flying in, sort of like zooming through the little gaps, you can actually see there appear to be like, as you can see the underside of some of them, there appears to be like two almost like nodules on the bottom of them, and like the light is coming from those. And you see these beetles just like and come like flying in. Okay, so Wymer, what are you doing?
me or Cameron? I just wanted to check because
I'll go with you. I mean, you guys can go whatever order you want. I'm just like shouting out what people are doing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would just suggest Cameron, I guess, because he sort of
He's in the thick of it.
yeah he seems like the most urgent situation.
Okay.
So, John, do I get the sense that these creatures know where I am and are moving in my direction, or that they're just moving into the court?
It's difficult to tell because obviously they're insects. So you can't. It's not like a human or something where you can go, oh, where are they looking? But they are sort of like all converging on this centre chamber. Whether they're converging on you or they're just moving into the centre chamber, it's difficult to tell because they're just like.
It doesn't super look like they're heading towards you. It looks like a couple of them are coming over here for sure, I'd say. But that one by the tree looks like he's maybe...
Yeah, so I think I will shoot this one that's coming quite close to the tree.
Okay.
Let me see how that goes.
Are you using your black powder or?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Okay.
So 13, which would probably hit an 18.
That would hit. Don't forget your misfire chance, and it is damp.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, 1d10, right?
Yep.
So damp is +2.
Yep.
So that's a misfire, yeah.
Okay, yep. So you pull out your black powder, you aim it at the creature, you squeeze the trigger, and it just goes.
Oh, man.
Obviously, the damp of your travels has got into like the powder that was in you've loaded into it.
Newfangled rubbish.
Okay, so Leopold.
I warned him about that janky old.
You've seen Cameron sort of lean out and like get it banged to rights, and then the disappointing like of like smoke come out, and this slight smell of like damp, sort of singed but not really like burnt, like gunpowder, just like wafts faintly over the scene.
The folly of youth, beguiled by the newness of this gadgetry. I will level my trusty crossbow and fire upon this one to the west.
Okay, go for it.
That's an 18.
That is a hit. Roll your damage.
Is it D6 or D8?
It's a crossbow. It's D6.
Ah, damn it.
Okay, so you do hit the creature. However, it just like scores like a shallow graze along one of its sort of like armor-plated, like chitinous bits of its hide, and you see it sort of like dip down a little bit as obviously it sort of like has to adjust its flight to take into account the impact of this bolt.
Distracted by Cameron, he put me off.
Okay, why?
Your scolding takes your focus.
He put me off with all my moaning.
Oh.
Okay,
It's down to you, Weimar.
I'll take a step back.
My shot merely impacted on the surface.
I thought for a minute there when you said I take a step back, like Leopold was going to look round and be like, it's down to you, Weimar.
Yeah, it's
It's like a little silhouette into the distance.
Yeah.
Like
Just,
Speedy Gonzales style.
yeah, the hat's just spinning in the air. No, I'm gonna take a couple of steps back and to the side as well here and shoot at this one.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Praise Gale. 15.
Okay, that is exactly what you need to hit. So with 4 damage, you have severely injured this creature, and in fact it stops flying and it drops as your sort of arrow goes through one of its membranous wings, and it drops to the floor, but you can see like it's still moving, albeit sort of like a slow, like crawling pace now rather than zipping around. Okay, so we'll move on to the beetles. The one that's crawling is going to, because it can't get up the tree, it's going to start slowly moving towards where your shot came from. This one is going to go for Cameron. This one is going to come through here, and I'm going to go at Leopold. And this one is going to go for Cameron. Now let's see if I've managed to set up these monster sheets right.
Oh shit.
So, Cameron, what's your AC?
13.
Okay, so the first one, as it sort of like buzzes in, and they're basically sort of like latch onto you, and you can see these like mandibles going like trying to get at you. However, this one is unable to get through like the thick folds of your winter clothing. However, there's still one more left. That one also, you're basically sort of like with the butt of your like black powder weapon, you're like going like that and trying to force it away as it's like trying to bite on you. But like these two things are basically like latched on. They're not really attached to you, but they're sort of like they're in the bit of the tree that you're in, and you're sort of flailing around amidst these firs and these like whip thin branches as these two beetles are trying to get at you. Okay, so we have the one that's going to have a go at Leopold. Leopold, what's your AC?
Well, I don't see my leather armour.
Well, I'm guessing it's not going to be 17.
No.
Okay, so you take 5 hit points of damage as you feel an incredibly sharp pain in your midriff as one of these beetles sinks its pincers, its sort of mandibles into your flesh, penetrating through your thick winter clothing and your leather armour. Okay, and it's back round to you guys again. So, Cameron, like you say, flailing amidst this swirl of furs and beetles and this hazy sort of orange glow as you're like...
So what I want to do is basically jump out of the tree, and as I'm jumping out of the tree, I want to attack this one here on my way down.
That's absolutely fine. Make your attack roll.
Let's see how this goes. That's a miss, unfortunately.
Okay, yep. So, unfortunately, as you leap down from the tree, you've like misjudged the distance slightly, and it throws your attack off. You catch a glancing blow on it, but you don't seem to really do it a great deal of damage. Leopold, you've got one of these things with its mandibles like sunk into your side.
Yeah, so can I like just drop my crossbow and pull out an axe and whack it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Get off me, bastard.
Okay, so you drop your crossbow, grab your axe, and you're sort of going like that, trying to batter it off you, but it's not really having any great
Clearly, being bitten by the beetle is a little bit off-putting.
Indeed, and it's like sunk its mandibles in so deep that you do actually hit it a couple of times, but like it doesn't cause any serious harm.
Yeah, just not getting a dig in there.
So riddle me this: the beetle, as described, has its mandibles kind of inside Leo.
Yeah, kind of without consent.
So the beetle's not moving.
Well, it's not moving, but obviously like
it's
Leo's like
moving
flailing
to
about.
kill me, man.
Leo's like flailing about trying to beat it, so it's sort of like moving because he's moving.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking like if I can fish for any kind of bonuses here for like coming up here and getting up the old pistol and like putting the thing against the beetle and just letting it go.
Okay.
Not towards Leopold. Away. Always fire away.
Okay.
What, like, because it's not like getting at you kind of thing, you're thinking.
Yeah, because as determined, like it's bitten into your chest.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not letting go.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I might try and shoot it off.
It's going to be difficult to shoot it. Now, I will tell you that the way sort of shooting into a combat, which is effectively what you'd be doing, works similar to like Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Okay.
So basically, just to explain to anyone who doesn't know, any shots into combat are like randomised. So normally, if Weimar was just like, right, boom, I'm firing at it, I'd say roll a d6. If you get 1 to 3, you've hit Leopold. Anything else, you've hit the beetle. However, if you spend your move, like the entire rest of your turn, aiming, it would be a 1 to 4 to hit the beetle. A 5 or a 6 would hit Leopold, because effectively then the beetle counts as like 2 people in that combat because you've aimed and you've taken your time. But that's like all you'd be able to do, just that one shot.
Yeah, I have terrible experience with this. I murder the NPCs with literal pistol shots. So I'm not going to do that to Leo. So I will come up and I'll with my other hand hold the longbow to the side, get the short sword out, and try and.
Okay, and because you're like attacking it and it's already being at you, effectively flanking it, I'm going to give you a +2 bonus.
Right. So we're gonna put that there. Get the short sword. Ba-dong. Oh, that does hit, I believe, because it's 15.
It does indeed. Okay. So I will tell you that like this beetle is very nearly dead. It's got like 1 hit point left. So you can see like you just basically like smashed half of its chitinous shell off. Like there's ooze leaking out of it, sort of like insectile like goo.
But glowy ooze, because it's
you can see like one of its wings that's still left is like but it's still like got its mandibles like locked into like Leo. Okay, so we go on to the beetles.
Oh, sorry, before we go, because these guys are all glowing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it do anything? Because if I eviscerate this guy and there's goo everywhere, does it seem to do anything right off the bat?
What, is the goo doing anything to you?
Yeah, I mean, because the way that I'm thinking is maybe it's reactive somehow now because it's glowing.
The goo doesn't seem to be like doing anything. However, because you've smashed a large part of its shell off, you can see there appear to be like 2, like I say, sort of like nodules or like glands
globes
that are sort of inside, like on like the undercarriage of the beetle, effectively, and they're what are glowing.
All right, bro. Okay.
And you notice that even though like it's obviously like at death's door, these like these glands are still like glowing. And as you glance to the left, you can see the one that's pinned to the wall that you shot earlier, like the glands on that, which you can clearly see because its undercarriage is exposed. They're still glowing.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so we move on to the beetles. The one that's crawling is going to come down here. This one is going to go over to Cameron. So open the sheet, so 2 on Cameron. That one hits, so you take 5 damage. And the second one hits, you take 4 damage, so 9 damage in total. As these 2 beetles lock onto you with their mandibles.
Is it minus my level for that?
Yeah.
Then I am dead.
Okay. So unfortunately, you guys see these two beetles like fly in, and they just like launch themselves at Cameron, and you see him just like torn to the ground, and you see like gobbets of his like flesh and blood sort of going up as these things like. Okay, now what I'm going to suggest is, because obviously, like you say, your character has died. If you want to roll up another character, Rob, and cause I know you know the rules for this, I trust you to roll up a character. So what I will do is we'll just pause for a moment. I will add a new character. Give me a second, guys. I'll just set the permissions so you can change it. Okay, there you go. There should be one called Rob 2 in there now, which is a blank character sheet. So obviously you know what classes are available and whatever. So let me know when you've... what we'll probably do is we'll probably finish this combat, have a little break, and then if you want to roll up your character, we'll find a way to like bounce you in as your new character as quickly as possible.
Cool, sounds good.
Okay. Right, so you've seen Cameron torn to the ground.
Yeah, Leo, it's your go.
Okay, I am gonna spank this thing.
Okay.
With my axe. Oh, that's the plan. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, so you're
To coin a phrase.
you're trying to batter this thing that's almost dead because like Wyman's already finished it off. However, because it's like there, and you're having to be careful you don't like sink your axe into yourself, because like not much of it's left. You're sort of like, and you don't manage to get a decent blow in it. A few times you get near and you're like, oh, I'm going to take like half my side off if I do that. Okay, so Weimar.
If
FFS.
John, I were to shoot at this one, would there be penalties?
No, because I know that there's like one in the way, but technically it's in the same space as Leopold.
Yeah,
And
I
they're-
guess if it's
And they're only like beetles, so they're not filling up like the whole space. So.
I'm gonna give it a go with the pistol.
Oof.
Okay, that's some stats, Rob.
I'll say those are some stats. Although, look on the bright side, if you want, you could now create that hunter you were talking about.
Yeah, I know. That's literally why I've just downloaded the.
It's all good, man. That's absolutely fine.
So here goes. Oh well, doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does because it has the effect of maybe scaring them. So
Okay, yeah, so you don't hit it, but there is a loud, like, as you fire your pistol, and this acrid smell of black powder drifts up into the air, and there's a blinding flash of light. And since this is the first time a black powder weapon's been fired, let me make a morale check for them. I'll just check their morale. I think they're good, but I'll just check.
is there battle discipline holding, John?
Do you know what? They've got a morale of 7. So they're not good.
Okay, so that's how it works. Yeah, okay.
So as you fire that,
Yeah, it's roll over. It's roll over, isn't it?
Yeah. So as you fire, the ones that are free start moving away, and I'm going to say the one that's on you, Leopold, as it's trying to like detach itself and sort of limp away, you're basically like, because it's got like 1 hit point left. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Finally.
you just like stamp on it or something like that. Okay. So you can see these like beetles like moving away.
I think we fall back. We fall back.
I'm not leaving John behind.
He's dead, Jim.
It's
And
Weimar, I say.
I think on that bombshell, we'll have like a little 5-minute break there, guys. You use the facilities, etc. When we come back, like I say, we'll have a brief discussion about how we're going to like bounce Rob's new character into it and sort of hook him up with you guys, and then we will like crack on. So we'll be back in 5 minutes, guys.
Hey, John. Sorry. Are we rolling stats down the line, or is it just roll 6 and move?
Just roll them. You can put them where you want.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that, dude.
Look, you'll be running away from your companions and trying to hide in a tree and not managing it, and it's a shame. I was getting to like the.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was just saying that those 2d4 beetles, like that was a rough time.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Okay.
I like that there's an inheritance tax in the front here.
That's it. Listen, you can go to the ends of the earth. You can go to like Arctic Valkonen, like the abandoned home of humanity. But you ain't going to get away from the tax man wherever you go.
Yeah, some things are eternal.
That's it.
Yeah, we've got both of them. The fucking nobility and the tax man. That's both of them followed us here. Damn it.
Well, you can't have one without the other, can you?
Mm-hmm.
There was an Irish guy I used to know, and he said, "There's two sure things in life: nurses and taxes."
I was waiting for you to be like
I
that.
never said it.
I was waiting for you to be
He
like, it was
said
half right.
No, I couldn't possibly comment.
Okay,
Well,
so how are you
comment
doing
on
with
the
your new
taxes
character
front.
then, Rob?
Sorry. So basically, I'm just going to roll up a hunter. It'll probably just take me a few minutes to fill in the sheet.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll resolve this sort of like combat and like recovering Cameron and whatnot, and then we'll hopefully by then you'll have got your character sorted and we'll have a bit of a chat about how we can like bounce him straight in.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so we're back like we never left. Weimar and Leopold, the beetles have fled. You can still sort of see them sort of like flying away, obviously sort of like put off by perhaps the pungent odour of the gunpowder from Weimar, perhaps the flash, you're not sure, but they're like moving away from you. You can see the bite-riddled body of Cameron is sort of lying in the atrium near the tree that he just jumped out of. His musket still like held in one hand. What do you do? We're technically not in combat anymore, so I'll move the beetles a bit further away, and you guys can just like move yourself as you see fit for the moment.
What do you think, Weimar? What are you of a mind to do?
We take his body and we go.
Has he got a next of kin?
We'll go through whatever he has on him, the effects, figure that out. So,
Just marshalling the Rugrats.
So John, first order of business, fetch the body.
Yeah, done.
I'm covering you.
Yeah. So fetch the body and leave, I think, is the order of operations here.
Yeah, not a problem. You fetch the body of Cameron, and you both withdraw out of the ruined abbey.
Strategic withdrawal.
Yeah, that's fine. You can still hear the sort of faint buzzing in the background, but the beetles have like zipped off back into the sort of ruined chambers of this abbey.
Let the record show we never fled.
The engagement was a tie.
Consider it noted.
They lost some, we lost some.
We've merely temporarily fallen back to reconsider our options.
We advanced backwards.
Okay. Okay.
We proceed in the reverse direction.
So let's move back onto the main map. There we go. Okay, so you've withdrawn to what you consider to be like a safe distance. You're still on the mountain. The wind has died away. It's quite a clear, crisp, cold day. You can obviously see your tracks in the snow where you headed up to the ruined Abbey. A slightly sorrowful event. You can see like the 3 sets of tracks heading up there, and then there's just the 2 sets of tracks coming back. Why am I you're sort of carrying Cameron? As you slightly withdraw, you've got like Leopold sort of like covering like the strategic withdrawal as you're obviously sort of, your hands are full. And there's quite a somber mood as you withdraw. Like I say, you're at a relatively safe distance from the Abbey now.
I knew this fella would get his ass killed.
Eventually, it happens to all of us.
Impetuous youth. He's rushing in. I tried to tell him, but you can't tell these kids. The youth of today, honestly.
He's right there, you know.
Down in his prime.
You think sort of as you're listening to him, while you think that like Leopold sort of saying that it's probably like the nearest his kind get to sort of like an outpouring of emotion. Although it's like couched in his normal grumpy like grizzling about like the modern youth and all that, he does look a little bit downcast, and then in a slightly quieter voice he's like cut down in his prime.
Yeah, if he didn't care, he wouldn't say nothing. He just wouldn't bother. This is just him coming to terms with it. He's processing it.
What do you do, guys?
I think we head back to Trade Mate.
Okay.
See if we can bury him somewhere.
Okay, which of you is going to lead the way?
I think it's going to be Leo, because I'm doing the lifting.
Okay. In which case, since you're travelling through hills and mountains, roll me a d6, Leo. If you get a 1 or a 2, you have got lost. Okay, I'm afraid you've got lost. Okay, so...
Distracted. See, he's still distracting me even when he's dead.
You end up sort of travelling, it's like late afternoon by the time you reach like the edge of the plateau, and you're like, we must have gone like east instead of like southeast, because like we've arrived at the plateau, we've not seen the tents or anything over the hills, so we've obviously gone astray somewhere. Luckily for you guys, in the sort of somber mood as you are, like nothing appears to menace you. There's no problems as you travel. Okay, if you want to try and find your way to the trade meet, you need to roll me another d6, Leopold. See if you can like find your way back. Okay, yeah. So by the time you guys make it back to trade meet, it's sort of like early evening, like dusk. It's just the light's just starting to fade a bit. You can see that like there's not as many tents here now. Like half the tents appear to have gone. Maybe the traders and all the time you were travelling, maybe they've like packed up and they've gone their separate ways. But there's still like a few tents are like dotted around.
What's the crack with this place? Is there normally like someone knocking around? Then is that the?
Well, from what Hercules Buchanan, who like is still here, because when you guys were like, oh, we're going to go off on this mission, he was like, to save this like knightly guy, he was like, all right, I'll just stay here and like meet you when you get back. So obviously Hercules Buchanan's still here, but from what he told you when you were originally travelling here, basically back in Rohaleen where you all come from, as I've said, the sort of big trade guilds have got like a stranglehold on all the trade, all the best trade routes, all the best gear. They've got a lock on it. So if you're like a small independent trader, you've either got to pay like loads of money to them as like a bung to get a piece of the action, and it'll be a little piece, or you've got to try and like think outside the box and like go somewhere different. So a lot of these smaller traders are like, we know it's dangerous in Valconen, but like the big trade guilds, they're not going to risk the dangers of Valconen because they're already sitting on a fat stack of cash back in Rohaleen. Whereas we know it's dangerous, but if we travel here, maybe we can like establish some new trade routes. We can set ourselves up here. So some of the traders have agreed to sort of like meet here and like share their knowledge, maybe as the start of like a burgeoning trade guild for Valconen. You're not sure, but it's just like a load of these like younger, slightly sort of lower down the totem pole sort of traders who are like, let's all meet up. We're all going to have come from different places. We're all going to have different experiences of Valconen. Let's meet up, share a bit of knowledge, maybe trade a few goods while we're here, and like basically see which way the wind's blowing. Because you know that Hercules Buchanan has already said, like, look, if I think it's good for trading in Valconen, I'm going to want to set myself up like a permanent like trade station. And that's when you guys were like, oh, mate, like if we help you, would you like set it up near our village? And he was like, yeah. So it's not like an established place where like there's always traders here. They just agreed to meet here for this particular sort of like exchange. But you can see like a few of them are still here, and obviously Hercules is still here.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, like, well, what are we going to do with young Cameron then?
Obviously, as you're saying that, like, obviously Hercules Buchanan's like seeing you, and he sort of heads over and he's like, he looks like absolutely horrified as he sees Cameron's body, like Weimar sort of carrying him like dramatically. He looks like he's, oh my god, what happened?
Nasty business. We got caught up in a right nasty business. The young fella dashed in like a hero to take on these creatures, and they were just all over him like a rash.
He takes his like hat off and he like holds it by his chest as like a mark of respect. He's like, I'm obviously, I know he was your friend. I'm very sorry to hear that. And he sort of he puts like a hand on your shoulder, Weimar, because obviously you're carrying Cameron. He says, if there's anything I can do,
there is. We can get some shovels and some rocks, and we're gonna put up a proper place for him here.
Okay.
We're gonna start the trade meat cemetery, I guess you would call it eventually.
He says, well, I think most of the traders have gone now, but I do still have my, like I say, my small amount of personal savings. Given that you've agreed to see me to Fort Eastburn, wait here a few moments. And he sort of like, you see he's got like his little like sort of personal like coin pouch on his belt. He says, I'll go and speak to some of the traders, see if I can acquire shovels and what we need, and obviously I'll help you.
Yeah.
Prepare your friend.
I'll pick a sort of iconic position for this one, to sort of make it a landmark. To the thing that Weimar is thinking, we need to put him somewhere. Like we can just lug the body around everywhere. So we might as well do it here. However, because it's a sort of transitory thing that happens at trade meet. He's thinking we need to make it obvious so that people don't just like shovel the rocks away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more ostentatious, so more rocks basically, and make it an obvious grave site, and maybe get like chisel a name on a big rock that we put on the grave.
Okay.
Well, I got my trusty pick, so I'll start. I'll say a few words, and I'll be the first to break the ground. Seems the job for my kind. Step back there, Weimar. I wouldn't want you to get injured on my backswing.
Yeah,
it's quite mighty, as you will see.
Yeah.
And I'll say something in my native tongue of my people, and then I'll crack into it, take off my coat, and that hook it over to one side. Maybe get Weimar to hold my coat.
Standing there holding a coat. Like, you do it. You're doing so well.
Roll up my sleeves. Tighten up my belt.
Yeah,
Right,
obviously.
let's do this.
Hercules Buchanan comes back and he's bought like a couple of picks and a couple of shovels. And he actually comes back and he's carrying what appears to be like a sort of, almost like a sort of short, like totem pole that's been like sort of carved. And you can see that as he comes back, like his coin purse, which was like just a little purse, but it was like obviously full, is now like pretty empty. And he comes back and he holds out this like, it's like about that big, but it's like about that far round, like a little sort of totem pole. And he says, I thought you probably want some sort of marker. There wasn't a great deal, but I managed to get shovels and picks, and I got this. And he like holds out this like little totem pole thing.
We'll make do with what we have. It's always been the way.
And he'll pitch in and basically help you dig a grave for Cameron.
Yep.
Which I've now added to the map.
Yeah, Leopold's good for this, I reckon. He's pretty strong. He's got some good endurance.
Well, like I say, it was early evening by the time you sort of arrived at Trade Meet. So by the time, because the ground's like quite hard because of the cold, so by the time the three of you have like dug a deep enough hole, it's quite dark. Buchanan has like a lantern that he's sort of set down on the floor, so you've got a bit of light to like work by. And as like the light sort of fades and you see the stars coming out, Buchanan will like produce like a cloth or an animal skin, and he sort of like wrapped Cameron's body in it. You've got this roughly rectangular sort of hole that you've like picked and sort of dug out of the ground. Buchanan says, well, I didn't really know him terribly well. Do any of you want to say anything? Or I know you Cal know, and he sort of gestures at Leopolda. I know you have your ancestors, and obviously, I suppose normally we would say a prayer to Leander, but I'm not really a religious man.
Oh, I've said all I've had to say.
He turns to look at you, Weimar.
John Cameron was young, and he pursued a life, and he did so well and fiercely, and that's all any of us can do. And the best we can do is live up to his memory now here in this land. Let us not forget John Cameron, for we were all John Cameron when we came here.
Buchanan nods. He's still sort of like holding his hat sort of like respectfully over his chest, and then he says, do you two want... He looks a bit uncomfortable, like he doesn't really know what to say. He's like, do you two want to you know...
I'm just sort of like shaking my head at him. What?
Put
Inter the body, I think he means.
Yes, that's what I meant. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not really very good with this sort of thing.
Leopold, can you get the feet?
Sure can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, put him in.
Yeah, the two of you lower him into the grave.
And, we're gonna put that device of his in with him for the next life.
No.
All right.
Doesn't work like that.
Don't it?
Wherever John Cameron's ranging now, he doesn't need the rifle, and we do. So
Buchanan says, well, with any luck, he's in the blessed halls of Leander now.
hopefully he doesn't need a rifle there. And so we take the gun with us and put him in repose.
Well, make sure if anything happens to me, you bury me with my axe, or I'll have something to say about it in the afterlife. Just saying.
Where do you people go then?
Well, we fight on. We fight on in the afterlife. We struggle on. It's not a time for rest.
So it's
We watch
fighting
over-
forever then.
Yeah, we watch over the generations that follow.
Who are you
and
fighting?
keep away the evil spirits from our kin.
The evil spirits.
Mm. We look over the tribe and the kin,
Sounds
and I'll
like a
be
lot of
needing
work.
my axe for that.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, I will make a note of that.
Mm.
Good. Well, let us bid farewell to John Cameron. Weimar says, and starts putting on the rocks, and we back in the earth.
Yeah.
And when Weimar's not looking, I'll throw in a dagger, just in case.
It's like, I got you.
Just in case the afterlife gets a bit tasty.
In case it gets a bit tasty.
In case there's beetles in Leander's halls.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to be, caught unawares.
In a tree.
Okay, so as you're sort of like cheekily like throwing a dagger in
Yeah.
there, Buchanan sort of sets the sort of like little like totem pole like marker that he purchased there. He says he looks at him. He looks at Leopold. He says, I don't want to seem like I'm making assumptions, Master Dwarf, but would you like to carve a name or something into the marker?
Yeah. I'll have to borrow your knife.
Just of course, and he takes out. Bear in mind that you've just like thrown a dagger in there. He takes out what's like effectively like a Swiss Army knife.
Mm-hmm.
It's like blatantly like not meant for combat. It's like for carving cheese, if that. And he says, "I'm afraid this is all I have, but please, sir." And he holds it, passes it to you. It's like a little like potato peeling knife.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess that'll do. And I'll head over there and I'll put in some dwarven rune of protection or something, or something customary that we might put, like a charm of some type for the
that's
afterlife.
not a problem. You carve a dwarven rune of protection on the marker. And it's a solemn scene as the last light of the day fades away, and the only light that is now around is the
Rob's
flickering-
welling up there. Look, he's welling up.
That's the power of role playing.
There you go. His glasses have got all misted up.
He's like, just got a bit of a cold.
Bit of congestion.
The only light that illuminates this solemn scene is the flickering amber glow of Buchanan's lantern that's sat on the floor. Do you guys rest for the evening, or do you have something else you'd like to do?
I need to rest up.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some. I suffered a little bit of the mandibles of them dang beetles.
Okay,
They crushed me up pretty good.
so you guys rest up for the evening, so you'll be able to get a hit point back. Okay, so how are you getting on with your character, Rob?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so obviously we're going to take a short little out of character aside here, so that as a group we can discuss what we think is the best way of bringing Rob's new character in and like having him have like some connection with you guys and like a reason for adventuring with you, basically. So, would you like to give obviously me and the guys like a sort of description of your new character, Malcolm Hop?
Yeah, absolutely. So he is a, I guess a kind of slightly built, kind of relatively short humanoid. He's a wald or elf.
Nice.
He has kind of blue woad tattoos kind of on his forehead. And he's kind of underneath his kind of wintry type clothes. He kind of has like a real kind of leather jerkin and real kind of leather clothes. And he is a you would kind of know looking at him. He's kind of hunter. He kind of has the bow, carries a sword as well. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Yeah.
Best bet for him. Just keep on walking, lad. Keep on walking.
Bit harsh.
Come here, this one won't last that long. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, probably won't have to put up with him for too long.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this open to you guys. Obviously, this is a discussion. We'll also chip in. But what do we think about ways to bring Malcolm Hop into the group? Because obviously, I'd like to get. I don't want like Rob to have to sit out for ages while you guys are like, oh yeah, he's back at the village. We'll go back to the village. I'd rather like bring him in as quickly as possible. But obviously, I want to like for him to have a reason for like adventuring with you guys. So, see, the original group, you were all like, right, we've all arrived. We're all like part of the settlers of this village. We're all sort of ranging out. We're like finding what's going on and stuff like that. So what are we thinking?
So I had a thought that assuming Hercules Buchanan got a little bit nervous while the party was elsewhere, that he might have hired a second person to guide him to Fort Eastburn, and might have promised such a person something separate to what he'd promised the party, and as such that would bring us together for a period of time to get us to Fort Eastburn, and then we would kind of build up a dynamic where maybe the dwarf didn't hate the wet elf and vice versa so much that we could maybe make it work, you know.
Yeah. What do
it's
you
a
guys
bit cliched, but
hey, that's fine.
I think that
We're
like...
playing an old school D&D game. This is where cliche lives, my friend.
Exactly. I think that's quite a good idea because
I was going to say, mentioning cliches, you did hear the dwarf talking about an axe throwing contest earlier, right? My axe.
And it's the whole mountain man thing as well, because they used to meet up in the colonies back in the day. In reality, they used to have axe throwing contests, the mountain men. So
I thought it was a nice little
kind of
detail.
picking up on that trope as well. So it's like a couple of it's a super trope.
Powers combine, form of giga trope. It's all good, man. I'm all in favour. That tropes exist for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about that? So like Malcolm being like he's like an extra like hireling that Hercules has taken on, and you guys got to build up a rapport as you sort of travel on.
Because in reality, I could see Leopold being like, nah, blow that guy out. But if our man had already hired him, he'd probably just be like, yeah, well, whatever. He hired him. Nah, that's down to him, you know. So that seems quite sort of sensible. And he could have been hanging around from one of the other traders. Maybe he could have been the guide for some other traders.
Yeah.
And now he's looking to make a return journey back over to them woods.
So what was it that? Because obviously, like presumably, like Malcolm's not like native to these lands, because like most people aren't. So what was it that brought Malcolm to Valconen? as like a hunter?
I see him as a real kind of adventurous type, kind of as much got bored in the forest of Rohaleen.
Well, yeah.
Just kind of.
To be honest, like the elves, they are sort of viewed with suspicion because a lot of people are like, oh, you know, they're like that they've like got the bloodline of the old mages who caused like the Great Winter. You know, like look at them with all their weird tattoos on their ears and whatnot, and their magic. So like I could quite see that, especially like if it's to be believed that they're descended from the mages. This was like the seat of like magely power back in the day. So I could quite easily see like an elf being like, do you know what, we always get like the shitty end of the stick like on Rohaleen, so there's not exactly a lot keeping me here.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I see it panning out.
Okay, so what I'm going to suggest we do is just to give you guys a chance to like do a bit of chat in character. The next morning when you all wake up, Hercules introduces you to Malcolm Harp as has been described, and he says to you, yes, well, I wasn't sure exactly how long you'd be, and obviously with most of the rest of the traders departing, and in the morning you see like the last few of them are like basically getting ready to roll out. He's like, with the rest of the traders departing, I thought in case you didn't get back in time, I've taken on an extra person to help us get to Eastburn. This is Mr. Harp, and he indicates this sort of like tall sort of elven hunter with these like woad tattoos, bow, etc. So, I guess so. Mr. Harp will be accompanying us to Eastburn. Assuming we're okay to set straight out, and you fellows don't have any other business you need to take care of.
Well met, gentlemen. I'm newly arrived. Some 2 weeks here.
Nice.
I've been fighting merchants around and trying to explore the land. Very interesting place, to be sure. Malcolm's the name.
Malcolm.
Weimar. Again, we all have the same job description here, so welcome in, I suppose.
I suppose. Yeah, well, I'm Leopold.
Well met, Leopold. Well met, Weimar.
Do you know your way around these parts?
A little bit. You know, I've been here in a number of weeks, so I'm not really au fait with the local area, but I am something of a woodsman. I spent, many hours.
Well, you would
days.
be, wouldn't you? A woodsman,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
I would.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Says Hercules. Is there anything else you fellows need to take care of before we start making our way to Fort Eastburn?
The business with the, who, Leopold. If we want to stop by the old Abbey.
Did we want to stop by the old Abbey?
Hercules Buchanan's like looking back and forwards with the two of you, like with a look of like absolute bewilderment on his face. He's like,
Well, what do you think, Weimar?
Well, it seemed to me they were pretty intent on getting whatever's to be got at the Abbey. The old man and the apprentice. So I'm thinking if we go west...
Those Egypts will go blundering into the Abbey.
Well, one of them will. They're going to get 8.
Well, And
The other
exactly
one was
my
going to die
problem.
alone in that cabin.
Again, is it like Abbey?
I'll point towards where it is. I was like, there's an Abbey there that did it for John Cameron, or rather the wildlife around there.
Yes, I obviously I saw the bites in the body of the deadly departed. What
Not to mention the bites in my good self, I hasten to add.
Yes, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to insult you or anything. But what manner of, and he sort of like now he peers at like the sort of bite marks. He's like, what manner of creature was it that caused such injuries?
Well, apparently, as our poor old deceased companion reliably informed us, they be fire beetles.
You notice his eyebrows like raised when you say that. He's like, fire beetles, you say? He says it.
Fire beetles, I say.
And you see like his eyes narrow a little bit, and an almost sort of like slightly crafty look comes over his face.
With some dollar signs.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, you do know that they're quite valuable.
We know his vote on the matter, Paul. So here's the question, Hercules, Malcolm. Don't have the exact figure. Let's call it 6. A ruined abbey inside which 6 fire beetles. Us 4. What do you make of that?
You can almost hear the ka-ching signs as like Buchanan's like mentally like topping that up.
Speaking for myself, I think we could take them if we took a more strategic and cautious dwarvenly approach.
Tossing axes.
Buchanan says, well,
An outflanking manoeuvre.
Buchanan says, those are fire beetles. They have an organ that glows and sheds light. If I remember correctly, those organs, if they can be removed, they continue shedding light for days afterwards. Yes, I mean they're quite valuable.
How do you feel, Hercules, about shooting a bow or a gun at them?
Yes, I'd give it a try.
Okay, that's good.
I don't have a bow though.
Do you have a gun?
You mentioned that there was an old man nearby. Would we
Yes.
perhaps be best leaving our employer with the old man?
I was
not
I was
nearby.
just thinking of bringing in the artillery now that we've been routed once, but Hercules,
Yes.
would you want to mind an old man bedridden instead of climbing the mountain?
I can't say I'd given looking after an old man much thought, but I'm not exactly, as you can tell, I'm not exactly the rugged outdoors type.
There's nothing to do that I can tell, except keep the man company. So,
Well, yes, I suppose I could do that.
alright. Malcolm, you got a bow?
I do.
Round 2, I guess. I say as I start loading my pistol.
Okay, so basically, to cut a long story short, you guys travelled to the tent with like the two sort of members of the Order of Solaris in there,
Yep.
and you leave Hercules with them. Like young Simon looks a bit sort of like confused when you like bowl in with like, oh, we're going to leave this merchant with you, and then you're like, oh, unfortunately we've lost a companion, but we're going back to the Abbey to see if we can like get this thing for you. We need to like leave this guy here because like he's probably not going to make it up the mountains. And he's like, oh, I understand. He's like, yeah, yes, that's fine. You can leave him here.
I'm gonna lobby the team regarding the necessity to wait until I've regained my full dwarvish vitality. In other words,
I will point out, guys, that if you've like taken all of Cameron's possessions, he had like another dose of like those healing herbs.
Yeah, smash that on.
yeah. Well, I can do that.
Yeah, because if no one intervenes, like Weimar's thinking entirely revolves around, oh well, he's not using it anymore, and we need it. So
Okay, so you've seen how he prepared them. You melt some snow, you mix them in, pass on a mortar styling. You drink them, Leopold, and you regain 6 hit points.
Okay.
It takes like a couple of hours, but like, after you've like drank it, obviously it doesn't like heal your wounds, but you start feeling like a lot stronger, and like the pain is partly like a painkiller, partly like a curative. You feel like the sort of nagging, sort of like burning pain of like your wounds subside, and you feel like a lot stronger in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so
To the Abbey?
To the Abbey.
up the mountain.
Okay. So let me just bring up my Abbey map again. Eventually, when Roll20 decides to do it. Cue the elevator music. Okay, so just give me a second. I'm just setting up a token for Malcolm. Obviously, it would just be like a blank sort of thing at the minute because we haven't got a picture for him.
Big M.
Okay, so I'll move you guys over to the map for the Abbey. Okay, so hopefully all of you guys can see the map.
Yep.
Alright.
Okay, so it's pretty much as you left it. You still see the table that was like barricaded on the door to the left. You can see through the atrium into the arch in front of you. You can't hear the buzzing at the moment. We're not in combat rounds, so obviously you can move yourselves as you see fit.
Hey, Malcolm. They start making a noise when...
So I think that's a super bad door to go through.
Hmm?
I don't think we want to go through that door.
Alright. So, we circle around. Let's go
Yeah.
here. This way.
Yeah, I reckon.
Okay. Flop. And take a look inside.
Okay,
I see there's one.
yeah, as you peer inside, you can see the ruined remnants of these like long sort of wooden, like almost like some church benches. There's rubble and bits of stone and wood everywhere, so like a couple of inches like thick layer on the ground. You can see one of these beetles sort of at the end near what appears to be like a shallow flight of like little stone stairs going up to what must have once been an altar or something similar. And again, it's just sort of like almost like swimming through like the sort of like the layer of rubble that's collected around the floor. It doesn't seem to like be agitated or paying you any mind at the minute, or even to have noticed you.
So do we want to scout more, or do we want to start the thing?
Well, I reckon we could tag that fool. and fall back.
All right. I'll draw an arrow. Get my longbow out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Take a shot.
go for it.
Should keep an eye on whatever comes from this direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll maybe
Oh, that's a miss.
Okay, so your arrow goes like and sinks into the rubble that's coating the floor. Because it like didn't hit the beetle, it's not like roused it in any way. Because like there's always obviously there was like the as it went into the rubble, but there's like bits of rubble falling all the time. So like the noise itself didn't rouse the creature.
Yeah. I will also try and shoot him.
Go for it.
14's a miss, is it? Yeah.
It is indeed. So you also fire an arrow, and again it like thunks into the rubble just a bit short of where the creature is.
right, lads. Guess it's down to me. Did that not happen? No. Hey, 15.
Okay, that's hit. Roll your damage.
Ka-ching.
Okay. And since it took damage last time, it only has 2 hit points left. Your crossbow bolt sails unerringly through the air, straight down the middle between these ruined like altar chairs, thuds into this beetle, and there's like a and it stops moving, but you still see like the dull sort of like glow from where it is. You know where it is.
There you go, son.
Down.
That's how it's done. That's how it's done. Watch and learn. That's your crossbow there. Good sturdy crossbow, that's what you want.
Okay,
No
so,
messing.
So as you guys are like looking down between these ruined like chairs, these benches, you can see like no further creatures in there that you can see at the minute.
That's a couple of glands in the sack.
As the old saying goes.
Should we creep forward and try to find another one?
Yeah. So I'll head in. And I will go right here to the wall.
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, you can see sort of like the orange glow coming from this direction. So you know there's probably like one over here, which isn't a surprise because you saw like one head off in that direction previously.
These windows on the east elevation, John,
Yep.
what sort of height of the floor is the sill of the window there?
5 foot. Because they're like big old like.
Yeah,
church
big
style
up.
windows.
Yeah. Okay. All right then.
Like you'd literally like have no movement penalty if you just wanted to be like and move out of them. Okay, so what are you doing, guys? There's an eerie silence on the ruined abbey at the moment. All you can hear is like the sound of your own footfalls as you're like through the like, layer of rubble.
Do these have any sort of glass on them anymore?
No, they're just like the open sort of like holes where windows would have been.
Yeah. So what's this? I'm seeing a thing here.
That is Malcolm Hart.
Me, sorry.
Malcolm Harp. Yeah. Because I'm very zoomed out because I was measuring the distance to the thing, and I was like,
That looks like a
Ring
great
wraith.
thing. Like,
It's
I know
the
jumping-
Nazgul.
Yeah. I thought that like the Beatles weren't enough, so I thought, oh, I'll throw a ring wraith in there.
That's it. Probably a fell beast knocking around here somewhere.
Yeah, before we get murdered by a ring wraith, let's head on in.
It's just like Leopold axe contest.
So I can see one here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, as I probably all saw previously, there's some other things going on back there as well. Don't know what those are, but
we see. There's only 3 of us. We need like a bottleneck situation to kind of. If we try and take them in this big hall, they're just gonna swarm into us.
so I want to know what's here. So if you want to wait here for a bit, I'll take a quick look, go here, see what's going on.
Or we could scout around the outside and approach from this
From here?
up there. Yeah. I could fall back. We could all fall back, and
We can go through the window here.
you can go through the window, and I could.
Yeah.
Better get that harp fella back before he gets himself killed.
You mean the Nazgul?
The Nazgul. The Nazgul. He's got a bit carried away with his icon.
Okay, so as Malcolm, Leopold, and Wymer, you sort of hop out of these wrecked windows, you can see that outside, sort of like around about here, there's a shallow depression that looks as though in the ground that's like collected water in it, but obviously due to the temperature, it's like frozen over. It's ice. You can see like a crack in the ice here. But you can also see like the building must have once gone right up to the edge of it, but bits of it have like crumbled off, presumably into like whatever's here. And you can see like this bit of the building is open to the elements, so you can easily go in there.
Right. We want to stay off that ice, I say.
This is free from ice. This
Yes,
particular
yeah.
bit right here.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. I'm
Okay.
heading that way.
Okay. I will. I'm a little bit vertically challenged to do anything about these windows. I'd take up a position at a window, but I can't see. I'm not tall enough.
Yeah. So I'm peeking. Whoop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you peek round, you can see what appear to be like stone sort of coffins. One here, one on the opposite wall here that's sort of open. There's a shallow flight of stone stairs, as I said here, going up to what must have once been an altar, but it's now like empty. There's nothing on it. And there's another one of these like stone coffins here that is open.
If you are pinging, by the way, I don't see the pings.
All right, okay. Let me try that again.
I didn't see them either. I was refreshing. Sorry.
Okay, so coffin there,
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
coffin there,
Mhm.
Yep. Altar here.
empty altar there, yeah, and then coffin just to the north of it there.
Are
Open.
these ajar or are they
Yes,
closed?
they are. They are ajar.
Okay. I'll whisper back. I'm gonna go take a look at the tombs. There's 3 tombs, an altar, and a set of stairs at the far end.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
nothing else is moving, so gonna go see.
Okay, so you examine the sort of stone coffin. It's empty. You can you peer through the gaps in the lid. However, as you're looking at it, you can see from the sort of like scrape marks on it, it looks as though it was opened from the inside. You can see like the scratches where like something from inside's like pushed aside.
So looks similar, I think, to what we've seen before on the Isle. These people have been cursed. So there's nothing in it, John. No body parts or anything. Okay. So don't touch the sarcophagus. and be on the lookout for bones of any kind, because they might be the type to get up and walk.
However, if they follow the same rules as the previous, it's daytime now.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, we need to be aware of if there's a body somewhere, it might be an enemy.
That's fair.
Okay, so sort of very quietly, just step by step walking across the thing.
Okay, make me a dex roll. Because obviously the floor is coated in rubble, as I've said previously. Okay, so you make it halfway across the room, Weimar, when your footfalls dislodge like a bit of wood and a bit of rocks, and they're like tumble to the floor. Not quite as loud as that, but like with an echoing noise. Can you roll me a d6? Anything but a 1 or a 6, you're grand.
All of it took.
Yeah, you're fine. So you sort of like, you wait for a few moments, or sort of like holding your breath, and then you don't hear anything. You appear to be safe for the moment.
Okay, keep going.
That's fine.
Check this one.
Again, much the same. Been opened from the inside, nothing inside it.
Yep.
So sorry. I think I can see a bug. Well, I know I can see a bug on here, but I think I can see a bug to the west. I don't know if I can maybe just see a little bit of movement through this like line of doorways.
Yeah, you see it sort of moving around, but again, it's just sort of like lazily, sort of like almost like swimming through like the rubble.
Yeah, so I'm keeping my eye on that, and like I got my crossbow trained on it, and I just sort of like, when Weimar looks my direction, I just kind of like give him the eyes as if to say,
Okay, so what's Malcolm Hart doing? What's this going?
I guess I'm kind of once I see Leo or Leopold kind of getting ready, I guess I'm going to stand in behind him, and kind of have an arrow pointed in the same direction.
Okay, no problems. You don't appear to have alerted the insects to your presence at the moment. What's the plan, guys?
I think Leopold was taking a shot. Probably.
No, I'm covering in case you alert them and they come this way. I'll get a shot off. Like I'm preparing an action in 5e speak.
Up or down, these ones?
It's a small flight of stairs sort of heading down, like the floor beyond that slightly lower down. Only like 5 foot or so.
Yeah, but so gonna take a peek. So I'll motion for them, basically just letting them know with my hand signals, hopefully, that I'm just gonna go down, and I'll point at my eyes and can check out this place. So
okay, you step into the small, sort of like slightly lowered chamber beyond. You can see a doorway to the south that you're like, oh, that must head into like the atrium, and there's also like an archway to the north of you.
Yeah, I'll take a look here and just peek around the archway.
Okay, you peek around the archway. You see this must have once been another tower, and you can see like the remnants of what must have once been like a wooden floor, sort of sat higher up in the wall, but there's just like a few support beams and like cracked and rotted planks there now.
Is it open to the sky?
Yeah.
Gonna whoop.
Okay, and as you move around and you look fully in, you can see what appears to be set in the floor and spiraling downwards is a set of like deep carved stone stairs heading downwards into the darkness.
I will step in. Okay.
You know your relics down there. In the crypt.
So I will step around the stairway and I'm gonna peek around these. I presume there's no obstructions on these as well. Yeah.
You can see they lead to the outside. You can see like the sort of scrubby like grassland heading away from it, like piles of snow and such like, and a few sort of shrubs dotted about.
Yeah, just gonna take a comprehensive look around. Okay. I'm actually gonna go here and then, if I can, pop out from here.
Yeah.
Is it possible to traverse?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
there's like a crack in the wall there, so you like squeeze through it.
Yeah, and I'll take because what was concerning me was taking a look here around the corner because we've never seen this. So, but there's nothing going on there. So I'll pop back in. Blop, blop, blop. I'll head back towards this space. And I'll make a hand sign. Oh, is that John, me getting
No, you're fine.
the trap?
No, you're fine.
So I'll make a hand sign as if a person was traversing downwards by stairs. I'll point at the room that I just came in. And I guess I'll just head back to my compatriots here. So
Okay.
make my way across.
Make me a dex check.
Even worse.
Okay.
MBO?
So, as you start sort of making your way across, you again like tread on like a piece of wood, and there's like a loud crack. Roll me a d6. Okay, again you sort of like as you're like, but aside from like the very low level buzzing that these creatures seem to emit, there's no like intensification of it.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
get across. Right, so there's a tower which has a stairway going downwards. There's a hole in the back of that tower wall. I checked outside, there's nothing there. However, there is something on the... You've spotted your bug there. There's something there, probably more than just the thing that you've seen. I don't know what's downstairs, I didn't look.
Do we want to risk going downstairs with these bugs up here?
I wouldn't want to do that now.
No.
So,
How fast did the bugs move, John?
Pretty quickly, although they were somewhat restricted because of like they're indoors and they're having to fly around things.
Yeah.
So you've never seen them sort of do like a straight attack run, so you're not really sure what their top speed is.
Well,
Okay.
I've got a plan. How about we try and close off the southern door to the chamber with the stairs in that Weimar talked about, and like carry some of these, try and maybe carry a bench in or something, and come in from the north and block the door to the south. Would that keep the beat?
So effectively, you're suggesting, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, picking up one of these benches, going out of the building, round the back, coming in, and then like jamming the bench up to like block the door to the south.
Yeah, a bench or a stone lid off the coffin or something. A bit like bit like the dudes did down in the bottom area. The barricaded door kind of made me think of it.
I wonder, should we check out the barricaded door? Let's see if there's anything down there.
Yeah, we could do, but we're here to get this relic, and methinks the ye olde relic will be loitering around somewhere in the lower bowels of...
In the crypt.
In the crypt. can always check out the barricaded door, the barricaded room later.
Okay, so what's the plan, guys?
Or you could try and kill some more beetles whilst trying not to expire.
But that went so well for me the last time.
Wait, Malcolm, are you reborn? So I'm thinking we could barrage whatever's here on this side of the building. We could barrage them from all the way here. Because
We could bring out a bench for Leopold to stand on.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Could have picked a better spot.
I need at least a sort of a 19.5-inch elevation. Oh, handy enough, here's a bench.
Yeah.
And there's pews, because this be a church, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, if we take some material from here, we construct a scaffold
Yeah.
for our firing unit.
Yeah, and to be honest, if something did come from you, you'd have a bit of cover.
Yeah.
If they
Plus
start
we can
firing
always
back.
move south as well. If it came around, we could
Yeah.
always move down back towards the
Okay.
way we came.
So is that the plan you guys are going with? Setting up like a sort of like makeshift bit of cover and then like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fire at everything.
Yeah, so move yourselves to where you want to be. I'm not going to make you roll to carry a bench out. That's easily done. There's 3 of you.
And if it goes super bad, we might be able to lure them out onto the ice. Somehow.
Okay, so if you want to move yourself to where you're going to be when this whole like fuselage goes off for Leopold. Okay.
A bit closer. Oh, I can't. I'm a bit tighter up to...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys are all shooting at this one beetle, make your attack rolls.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's ridiculous, isn't it? What have I had? One good roll? Curse, you roll 20.
Looks like it's down to Wymo.
I think it's been rolling really high on the decks.
Boom. Hits it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, it's not quite enough to kill it. However, you can see that it's basically like slowly like crawling along because like your like arrow's gone like straight through it and there's like half sort of pinned to the ground, so it's like
Yep.
trying to move but like it's not really getting anywhere. It starts to like do the whole like bzzz, then your arrow's like and it's like it's still like sort of twitching a little bit, but like it's pretty much done.
It's
I'm
not doing
gonna lie.
great.
Yeah, and it's not going to be moving because it's pinned to the floor.
Yeah.
Hit it again.
Yeah, if you guys want to shoot at it again, I'm not going to make you make rolls for it. I'm just going to say that between the 3 of you, it's got 1 hit point left. You can take it out.
I'm going to save my bolts.
Okay, so you take out this beetle.
Okay, yeah, I'll put an arrow in it. So
Yeah. As it's like... And your arrow's pinning it through, and, like, and a second one thuds into it, and it's like... Yeah.
Is that what beetles look like, John?
Yeah.
Dead fire beetles look exactly like that, folks.
yeah, you heard it here first.
That's it, yeah.
Okay. What now, guys? Because you took that out so quickly, it's not like alerted the other beetles.
Yeah, which is kind of problematic because
Where are they?
Some of that.
These are 5 foot high, are they, John? So I could climb up onto it if I wanted.
Yeah.
Sorry, say again?
Sorry, this kind of window is like 5 foot high, so I
Yes,
can
that's
just
right.
climb
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah, easily.
So what I'll do is I'll climb up and jump in,
Okay.
and then kind of quietly and subtly move my way over here, see if I can see anything.
Okay, make me a dex check.
Okay. I actually don't think my light is working.
Malcolm, you're not running for that conifer tree, are you?
Let me have a look at your...
You're not running for that tree there, are you?
Oh, nice.
There you go. Hopefully that should have fixed it for you.
Okay, cool.
He's just trying to get his fairy up on the top there.
Yeah, no problem. With the grace of your elven ancestry, you like deftly pick your way across the room, avoiding all the bits of rubble and wood, etc.
Okay. So
You make it.
I can
28.
see that there are more of these creatures. So what I want to do is I want to shoot this one here.
Yep.
And then hightail it over here so that when it comes, the three of us can shoot.
That's fine. Obviously, you can do your shoot and then move. So make your archery roll.
That's a miss. So I guess it'll if it notices me, I'll run, and if it doesn't, I'll stay and shoot at it again.
Okay, it does appear to have noticed you.
Okay. So then I will hightail it over here so as not to join John Cameron on the roll of the...
Okay, so you can see, because you've had a bit more of a chance to see these creatures, you can see they have like bands of sort of like almost like metallic green and like purple on their like shells, and like the mandibles on these things are like massive. They're like industrial strength, like vices.
Uh-oh.
And obviously, as you sort of fire your arrow, you see them like, and they start like moving quickly. Although they're not flying, they're crawling very quickly. But
Okay.
obviously, you like quickly glance and then like across.
Okay. And I guess we're just readying for when it comes out so that we can hit it again.
Okay, and indeed they do start coming out. In fact, let me just check their movement. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let me just see roughly where they can get to. Okay. So two of these strange striped beetles rapidly like move across through the atrium to here. As they do that, you see another two emerge from a chamber on the left. And behind them is one of these like glowing fire beetles, sort of like flying through the air, but it doesn't appear to be moving anywhere near as rapidly as like these weird sort of like tiger striped beetles. Over to you guys.
Should we shoot one shot and fall back south? Try and confuse them.
Yeah, probably.
So
I think we should all focus fire on one.
yeah, so we fire on that one and then use our movement to go south.
GTFO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wymar, make your shot.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. An arrow thuds into that creature. You see it sink into it. However, these beetles appear to be like more heavily armoured than the fire beetles, so it like continues moving even though it's got like an arrow sticking out of it. Okay, Malcolm.
And I will use my movement to
Yeah, that's fine.
go away.
Okay, so here we go. 16.
Okay, again, another arrow thuds into this creature. It's still moving, however, although it's got like, noticeably more sluggish now.
Okay. And also pull down here.
Leopold.
A 12. That ain't going to be enough, is it?
Nope. Obviously, you can take your move after that. Okay, so I will move the beetles. Okay, Leopold.
Are they flying? Are they?
The fire beetle is flying. The others are just crawling very quickly, almost like ants.
Okay, and he can crawl up and out, I guess.
Yeah, they're just literally like. Okay. Leopold.
That barricaded room is starting to look pretty good about now, right?
Yep. I
Remember, if I got this right, if we run, you can double your move.
yeah.
Yeah,
Is that true,
but
John?
that's absolutely correct.
they're probably running anyway.
I'll tell you this for nothing. They don't really have a run speed. They've just got like a 50-foot movement.
Okay. But if we run, we give up our attack, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
run, all you can do is run.
Okay.
And that is exactly what I will be doing. Oh, hold on. Can't really see these squares. I think. Zoom in a bit.
Is that better for you?
Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right.
Yeah, so Leopold takes off at a run, heading southwards. Weimar.
Run away!
Are we going for the door, or are we just running away? Running away.
Well, we just stuck 2 arrows in them and they're still coming. That is I punched that into my computer, my combat computer, and that says we're dead if we stay here any longer. I was thinking about running out onto the ice, but
That seems like a gamble.
yeah. Without checking, we could have checked the ice to see if it would hold our weight and stuff, and we could have maybe trapped them on the ice, and they come out and fell in, and we didn't because they're maybe bigger and heavier, but we didn't do that, and I could have just run out on the ice, fell through it, and died of hypothermia,
Or drowning.
or even drown. Yeah,
So I think, as much as it's not super cinematic and everything, we could just run away and come back.
Yeah.
Let's see if they actually turn back. Because I could run off the map right now.
Oh yeah, if you run off the map, you're away.
Yeah.
Like, if you get to the edge of the map, you're gone.
Yeah. So, do we want to try something, or do we leave?
well, if you've got something you're thinking of trying, be my guest, but Leopold's barricade plan was his sort of magnum opus.
Yeah, 4 of these is a bit much.
I didn't know there was 4 of them things.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty solid as well. We're like super squishy. They're well armored, man. They're well armored.
Yeah, with a lot of hit points.
I mean, I lack the accuracy of the Imperial Stormtroopers.
So, I guess we're going. because I cannot see us taking 4 of those out +1 fire beetle.
No, because after the first round of combat, one of us is going to be dead, and we'll be down to 2.
Yeah, it's a what they call a death spiral in
Okay,
game
so
design.
I'm
yeah.
going to say, as you guys are cheesing it off, like darkness is just starting to fall, and the last thing you hear as you're sort of running away is from over in this direction, from where the sort of barricaded door is. From the other side of the barricade, you hear something pounding on the other side of the barricade.
We need to pick up the pace.
Oh, it's getting better all the time.
And you guys sprint off the edge of the map, surviving to fight another day. So obviously that is where we're going to end the session for tonight, because we've gone on a bit long, guys. So just give me but a moment and I will calculate your XP.
So on our quest roll, this one is probably marked in red, and we didn't check it until now. Good news is, though, no one's gonna go there and pillage that stuff.
No. No, I think that's fairly safe. We'll let these beetles guard it for now.
Yeah.
Until we see fit to.
Okay, so you all get 333 XP.
335 was it?
333.
333.
Ah, yeah. For whatever reason, I held 5. Okay.
And as you flee away from the ruined abbey, you soon put like the beetles far behind you, and they don't follow you far beyond the abbey. And that is where we bring this session to a close. There were highs, there were lows, there was joy, there was sorrow, there was lots of beetles, there was throwing axes. What more could you want? So,
there was highs, there was lows, there was joys, there was woes.
Nice.
Roll credits.
Indeed. So thank you very much for playing, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Yeah, it was good.
Obviously, I'm happy to chat for a bit, but I'm going to end the stream and the recording here.